And we are live. Welcome, everybody. You know how we do this. We need to check to make sure that our sound is working. No matter where you're from, please speak up and say, David, you know what? We hear you. We hear you too well. But welcome, everybody. I see a lot of people joining, a lot of familiar faces. Bond on the Run, Bond Lifestyle, Mr. Remit, Daniel Gomez. How am I doing, folks? Give me some feedback on sound. You know we can't move on without that. You wouldn't want to just speak to nothing. Angelo, welcome. Morgan, sound is good. All is working. That means we can dive in and say to you, welcome. Welcome to Global. We do this. Oh, and we've got to put on some speakerless things. Hold on a second. Welcome, everybody. Happy Global James Bond Day, International James Bond Day. And we've got a lot of people showing up. It's going too fast for me to read them. So I'm going to do something. I'm going to welcome automatically our wonderful guests to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, Joseph Darlington from Being James Bond. Welcome, Joe.
Thank you, David. Thank you for organizing a little gathering for Global James Bond Day. I know we certainly need it, possibly more than normal.
We do. I was actually going to start the show by today. I think I mentioned this to you when we were getting ready that a lot of people, they haven't been going Happy Global James Bond Day. They've been going Happy Global James Bond Day. And I'm like, oh, is that where we are? All right. Is that how you were a little bit?
Honestly, like I've been saying, it hasn't been a total shock. I mean, we'll talk about it. It hasn't exactly been a surprise, and it hasn't exactly thrown me for a loop for sure.
Good.
Parts of it were odd. Yeah, of course, yeah.
You're getting into it already. But before we do that, we got to welcome Mr. Tom Sears. How are you, Tom?
I'm very well, mate. How you doing?
You look good.
Thanks, dude. Thanks for having me.
A lot of us that have been washed with the news don't look as good as you, but I think it's either a filter on Zoom or something.
Well, when I first signed in, you said I look like shit. So I've put the touch up your appearance button on, and now I look about 6 months younger.
so if friends can't say that to each other, what can they say?
There you go, mate. It's all part and parcel, isn't it?
I know. Well, you know who we're not saying that to? Someone who looks fresh as a daisy. Calvin Dyson, how are you, sir?
I'm very well, thanks. Thank you very much. And I can only reiterate what Joe just said about thank you so much for putting this on and giving us an excuse to drink on a school night. It's really appreciated.
Okay, first of all, Calvin, I'm going to hold that against you for a second. The fact that you think we're going to drink tonight. Calvin, by the way, I'm a bit of a traditional old man. So I am actually starting with the martini. This is a celebration of Dr. No. I had to go back, Smirnoff, no less, icy cold, not a lot of else in it, just pure vodka waiting for my gullet. What about you?
It looks heavenly. I'm on vodka and Diet Coke, so hardly paying tribute to Dr. No here, but raiding the alcohol cabinet for what was available and hadn't already been consumed over the weekend was the goal here.
Whatever keeps you sustained. Doesn't matter if there's Coke involved. Trust me. Joe, what are you drinking tonight?
Well, as I kind of mentioned, I figured, well, I don't know if I'm celebrating Global James Bond Day or if I'm mourning the loss of No Time to Die for another 6 months. So I decided to go old school and do a Negroni, which I pre-prepared. And
wow.
And I'm actually going all the way.
Oh, I'm so glad you finished that sentence.
I'm doing this right.
Because this is a family show. Damn it. So wait. So is that from Live and Let Die? Help me here.
No, the Negroni, it's been, I know it's been in a couple Fleming books. I don't think they ever actually do it in any of the films, frankly.
Okay. Oh.
But I kind of, I got to thank my friend Chris Robinson, who kind of got me back into these Negronis, but
nice.
They really are nice.
And by the way, lest you think that there aren't adults in the room, Tom has elected to be the designated driver to make sure that we get home okay. So Tom, you are having water tonight?
It's my prolific digestive enzyme shake I've got talking about in there. So if I disappear halfway through this, you know where I've gone. But I will turn my microphone off so you don't have to listen to, the
As
The
you
falling
eliminate
when
the
you fall.
middleman.
All out, to quote Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible.
Well, even with that horrible green junk, gentlemen, I'd like to wish everybody a happy Global James Bond Day. All of you out there who have something, happy Global James Bond Day.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody. We'll be welcoming. And by the way, feel free to comment and question as we go along. But we've got to start in a very simple place, because I'm sure all of you heard that something happened, because I was telling the three of these gentlemen that the Global James Bond days haven't always been around fireworks and explosions, and there hasn't been a lot of things that we can gravitate to. This year, obviously, it's a little bit of licking of the wounds. But all right, I'm going to start off with something pretty easy. Calvin, we wanted to get your point of view on this. Obviously, everything is fresh. You just heard. I saw your video. I think many people saw your video. Now that you've had a couple days to digest the delay until April, what are your feelings? What's going through your head?
I'm okay with it now. It's, it is that immediate sort of, and I don't want to say shock, it's nothing that extreme, but just the kind of, when you've planned out your year and you're looking forward to this thing, and then all of a sudden it's not there, and it does just take like a night or two just to kind of rejig the brain and think like, okay, well, no, it's going to be April instead. It's going to be 6-7 months down the line. So it's, I don't have many life philosophies, but if I do have one, it's about, I try not to lose too much energy worrying about things that I have no sort of power over to change or anything like that. So it's just absolute, just acceptance that this is the way it is. So what else can I do? Is just accept it and move on.
Yeah. Although we did all see your video, and, when this gentleman talks about his alcohol being depleted, just watch the video. You'll see he really means it. You went right for the bottle, which good on you for doing that. Tom, we all watched you drink a very passionate, sensitive cup of tea to welcome the news into your head. But now that you've had a couple days, the tea has gone cold. What are you feeling?
Not surprised, really. I to be honest, I was more nervous about it. If it had have gone ahead in November, I would have been worried. I'd have been happy to see it, but when you're thinking of the bigger picture, I'd be like, I'm not sure it's the right thing, and I can't see it making any considerable money at the box office had it gone out in November. So I'd be more concerned and a bit nervous for things moving forward. You know what I mean? So had they released it in November and it scraped maybe 400 or 500 million or something, which for Bond would not be a good result really in the current scheme of things, it would have been a sort of like, it would devalue everything, wouldn't it? It would devalue their brand. It would devalue everything in terms of what Bond 26 might be, and it would just be a bit of an all-round disaster. Yeah, we'd get to watch it, but underneath that layer of happiness would be a lot of darkness. So I think it's the right thing to do. But at the same time, I'm sort of thinking my ethos is, when this film comes out, I want it done proper. I don't want to have to sit in a socially distant cinema with a mask on with people 4 seats away from me. I want to do it proper old school. I want to get in there. I want to be elbow to elbow with a bunch of fans. And I want them to do the big premiere at the Albert Hall. I want the crowds in the streets. I want Daniel on the red carpet. I want all of that, right? And if we have to wait, then I'm happy to wait. I wouldn't want it done half-assed. But at the same time, will that happen by April? I don't think it will, man. It might, you just don't know. Because when you think about it, back in March, when they first postponed things, it was like, okay, November. November felt so far away, and now November is 5 minutes away, and we're still knee deep in this thing. And it's like, okay, April is, what's that, 6 months? Is that enough time to really have the real experience?
Yeah.
Or not? I don't know. So I'm not to put even more of a downer on today's, event, but it's like, is April going to be the one, or is it going to be a later thing again? Who knows?
Listen, a celebration isn't necessarily, plastering a smile and hoping for the best. I mean, this is for us to, commiserate and cajole. And I've got to tell you, when I first heard the news, and I think I mentioned this in one of my videos, I was out with Danielle, and my phone started to explode. And when I found out, I was literally split in two, because a part of me at first was a crack against the cement, feeling like, oh my gosh, we just had 2 weeks of getting my excitement and everything revved up, in the DHL commercial, which looked like a mini movie to itself. I don't know how much I spent on that. So, the hype and everything was geared up. And then suddenly the other split in my body was exactly what you're saying, Tom, was, hold on a second. Can we have Barracuda in London in April? Can we get together? Can I go over to my Bond friends and actually sit down in the same theater? Might there be a premiere? Might there be a party? Might us be able to actually see each other physically like human beings again? And that potential came up. And Tom, this is going to be a conversation we're going to have throughout this. And I'd like to see it also in the chat room. But even though it's been moved to April, is that enough? Is it far enough? And, as we move to you, Joe, there's a question in the chat room I think has to be asked. And I hate to be controversial, but I'm going to start because this is what it's all about. Ivor Bacon asks, Joseph, what brand is your polo shirt? I kid you not. He just wants to know your brand of polo shirt, and then we can move on.
This particular brand is an Izod. And
Okay, thank you. Let's move on. It's too controversial. But
Gotcha.
Joe, as the gentleman that probably has posted the most reaction videos in the shortest amount of time for any franchise ever, how are you feeling today as of now?
Fine. Fine. I wasn't exaggerating when I said that I sort of feel like even for the last few months, I sort of just been numb to the whole thing. And again, the only perplexing thing to me is, like you said, was the marketing buildup, because most of us, most of the people I talked to by a substantial margin kept saying, you don't really think we're going to get a movie in November, do you? Because they seem to be acting like we are. And this is kind of even going back a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Then in the last few weeks, you're just like, I guess they're serious. I guess they're really going to do this. I guess this is the one. It's going to be the first big tentpole movie to return to the theaters, and we'll just see how it goes. And then all of a sudden you got the news and you're like, well, duh. We all knew this wasn't coming out. So didn't you guys know that this wasn't coming out? And in the video I just posted just maybe 2 hours ago, I said, when I got up Saturday and I saw the new podcast from the official James Bond podcast, and it was basically saying, it was like only 1 minute long, and they said, I think they read the actual statement saying, we know this is going to be disappointing to fans, but it is what it is, which I thought was pretty well handled. But I said to myself, I said, if they can get that out that quickly, does that really mean that no one this past Monday, when the first one came out, had any clue that they were going to have to push this forward? So I guess that's kind of that's the part of me that leaves me scratching my head. But personally, honestly, I do feel quite the contrary to how I felt last time. I feel a little relieved this time, because I do feel like Tom said, it would just be such sort of a half done experience to see it today. If it really came out now under these circumstances, it just wouldn't be anywhere near the same. And again, we would all, no matter how we saw it, we'd make the best of it. But we're, as far as everybody else goes, I don't know. Let's just wait till we can hopefully do this normal.
The chat room is almost in full agreement with what you're all saying, and even around the April date, which is an interesting conversation to itself. You've got James Bond Television saying it's more likely going to be a 60th anniversary film. You've got Shane Mackey saying move it to November 2021. DT UK saying April 21 should be the final deadline. Don't make it this is really kind of an interesting discussion. Now, we don't want to make it the only discussion. I'm going to flip it just to add, just for the sake of variety. I want to hang out the buntings a little bit, because I want to talk to you in the next 15 minutes, each of you, because I know that a part of you had to say to yourself, all right, shake it off. I got 6 months until this movie comes out. Woofa. I got 6+ months. All right. So what to do? And we've been here. We've had this delayed multiple times. And so in that 6 months as content creators, Tom, you kind of did a relaunch after a summer hiatus of James Bond Radio. Do you have in mind, how are you going to lift the spirits and create some uplifting content in the next 6 months?
I do, but I couldn't possibly tell you about it, David. Otherwise, I would have to,
And we're on to Calvin. A hint.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's a tricky one, man, because we like to have a summer break anyway, but I had a big old break across the summer because you can go outside in England in the summer usually, because it's that's the only time when it's not peeing down with rain. But yeah, so it was a case of, we planned out a few episodes to come back ready for the the run up to the film, and then God, last time when Spectre came out, we did a whole month of podcasts every single day for the whole month. So we were going to do something similar this time around with No Time to Die, and then that whole rug has been pulled out. So we've got stuff lined up that's pretty cool. We've got a good interview landing this Friday, actually. But yeah, we have to go back to the drawing board a little bit to work out how we're going to fill the gap until April, or maybe even next November if it ends up being that way. But yeah, who knows, man? Crazy.
Are you going to personally watch the movies again? A lot of people are saying they counted the weeks or the months, and they said, "Oh, okay, I can watch the movies again." Or have you done that in this previous waiting period?
Yeah, well, I over this summer I was so kind of, and I feel like Joe is going to get where I'm coming from with this, but I was so revved up for No Time to Die back in April, and then when we had all that travel booked, man, all those amazing events and stuff, I was so like, when it was put back, that by the time May, June rolled around, I was like, do you know what? I just need to have a rest and just kind of put Bond in a drawer for a little while, and then come back to it. So that's what I did over the summer months. I was exploring everything that wasn't Bond. Didn't watch any Bond. I was, watching other movies. I was completely going the other way. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to wait until, the Bond spark starts building up again for No Time to Die, and then come back to it guns blazing. So I'll have to now, obviously, because it's going to be another 6 months at least. But yeah, sometimes it's nice to explore the other stuff and see what's going on, and just put it in a little drawer for a minute and just be like, I'm going to come back to that when the time is right.
Can I tell you something? That drawer statement, I kid you not. Morten from Norway used that same exact term with me. He said, sometimes he puts Bond in a drawer. And I think that's not a bad idea. I mean, experience the rest of the life. I mean, Bond tends to be very consuming for all of us. I mean, look at me in a glass house throwing a stone, but it really does. And Calvin, I mean, as far as your content, I think you told me even a month or two ago, you were propelled suddenly in this lockdown of creating so much content, and your videos have become very consistent. Can you keep up that consistency for the next 6 months?
Oh, totally. Yeah. Especially now that we're at a point where, it was like Tom said, like here in England, the lockdown sort of eased over summer, and now we're sort of going back into more restrictions and all this kind of stuff. So if I'm trapped at home, it's like sitting here and working on Bond videos and all that kind of stuff it's been a real great pastime for me to take my mind off just the world at large and all that kind of stuff. Like I've definitely, there've been times in my life when I've definitely put Bond in a drawer and kind of not, done anything or watched any films or whatever for a few months. But for the last 2-3 years, probably, I've just never felt that. It's just, I mean, this is my desk where I sit at, and it's like, covered in Bond artwork, books here, Golden Gun and all that kind of stuff. So I just sit here, most days and sort of think about James Bond, and then have thoughts and like, God, okay, I'm going to make a video now about that particular thought or whatever. So yeah, but no, I mean, honestly, like this whole making videos, really engaging with the Bond community as it is just been like so fantastic and real sort of a great source of escapism for me over the last few months, and that's going to continue.
Yeah, it's by the way, your sentiment is shared on the chat. There's some really funny ones of what people are going to do. First of all, that one Bond guy, Chris Morales, who does a lot of the Frugal Bond reviews, says move it to November 2021. That's the date that I can legally drink. I love that. Everybody's taking this personal. I love that. Joe, you've done, as I in a pithy way said a couple minutes ago, you've done a lot of videos in the last few days, but quite frankly, you've reviewed all the films and then you've reviewed them with me in a different way. I mean, you can't review them again in the next 6 months. Do you have enough in your quiver? Do you have enough arrows?
And it is funny too, because I remember, Scott and I, when we planned to do all the reviews, we literally spaced them out. Like I went from like we were right about to start when the date was Valentine's Day. And I think we were right about to start going. Then they moved the date again. But the moral being that we literally took the date and went back every 2 weeks. And that's when we did our first video, to do them every 2 weeks leading up to the thing. Then, of course, they changed the date. So I kind of slammed on the brakes and said, well, we don't have to rush with these now. Let's spread them out a little bit. And yeah, you're right. I kind of filled the space with a lot of stuff, but I did have that same conundrum. Like, do we amp it up to try to keep this sort of hype excitement going? Or do we just leave it be for a little bit, let people kind of, like you said, lick their wounds? We'll come back right before November and get it up again. Get it started again, I should say.
That's what she said.
so yeah, so here's the question again. And I think, yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm gonna slow down. I mean, I feel like the things we're doing now and like other ideas for videos too, I think we'll probably just sort of keep going at the pace we're going. And I think the fact that I've had so many videos recently has been because the big hype train was going strong again. So there was a lot to sort of talk about. So we'll see, but I think for the most part, we'll keep it going.
I tell you what I did was I've got a Bond Experience calendar that I literally move and see where things are going to be released. And it was extremely aggressive, mostly because the brands right now, as a run up to the movie, when the movie was going to be in November, it was hot and heavy. I mean, you all saw commercials and products coming out. So I had tons of reviews that I did several at a time, and then had all these releases. Plus I had artistry ones and, regular interview ones, etc. People releasing books, celebrities doing Bond books, Ben Collins, things like that. And all of a sudden, what I found myself doing yesterday in reaction to this was taking my calendar and literally spreading it like peanut butter across this giant 4-foot piece of bread, just taking all that stuff. So I literally had, I was telling Joe this, 4 or 5 videos a week leading up to the movie. And now I've spread them. So happily it's going to be like 2, and maybe an event here and there and, 2. And I had to do that because we don't talk about this a lot, but the brands, they're not dancing a jig over this. I'm sure you understand that. They have and wanted a movie to support them, and they don't. And now you've got to create, in March, probably February and March of next year, more interest in the brands that have been associated with this movie. And, they pay contracts to have a movie kind of giving them certain surround sound events, to do that. And there were going to be some carefully orchestrated events, for example, some in New York City. Those have gone the way of the dodo. So it is interesting how much things have changed. And I almost equate it to getting hit by a tranquilizer dart. That's what this announcement was. It's like, you're going like, come back here, you rabbit, because everything is now going to go from 6 weeks to 6 months. Just let that sink in for a moment.
Do you know what's crazy about that as well? Like you talking about all the brands there, is it's like one of the great things that you want to see from Bond is all the new stuff, isn't it? It's like, what's his new Aston going to look like? And what does it do? And what's the new watch? And what's but all of that stuff's going to be out of date. By the time the film comes out, it's going to be at least a year out of date. And it's like, what do you do with that? So it's a complete, like it's such a strange situation in that regard. But then as well, like the news, was it yesterday or today? They're saying they're closing the Cineworld chain of cinemas in England, which I think is Regal in America, I think. So there's a whole chain of cinemas just biting the dust, and they were relying on Bond to come out and kind of save them and carry them over for a few months. So like it's so much bigger than like, not bigger than Bond, but like Bond, this particular delay has had this whole knock-on effect as well, even more than the last one. Crazy.
But is it, I mean, so Tom and Calvin and Joe, any of you feel free to answer this, but to me, it's a little bit unfair to say, I mean, for those that thought Bond would save the cinemas, I get that. And what a wonderful thing that would have been. But for one tentpole movie to save cinemas that were going bankrupt months ago, and I know they've closed in America. I just had an announcement in my county. 4 of my favorite Regal cinemas are now shuttered. And it was very interesting, the statement here in the States. I'm not sure by you. It said temporarily. So we may open if, and here's what they said, if there is a foundation of tentpole movies that they can gravitate to. So it didn't sound like one. It sounded like they need almost like a summer blockbuster of series. So what do you feel about that?
Sounding like they've learned their lesson, not to just wait on one movie to be the one. Be sure before you make any announcements.
That's just it, because I don't think, and we've had like news, particularly over the last couple of days, about, there's been a lot of articles calling out Bond and being like, oh, Bond should have come out and it would have saved cinema and all that kind of stuff. It's not like there's going to be one film that's going to come out and all of a sudden it's going to be like right back to how it was. It's going to have to be a gradual process over many months and many different studios. I think studios and cinemas are going to have to interact more than ever, really, because they are dependent on each other. Like the cinemas can't stay open unless they've got new content coming in, but the studios don't want to give them new content if they're not going to make as much money on it. So there is this constant leapfrogging. And eventually they're going to have to come to, like, something is going to have to be first. And I know Tenet came out and that was, but you know, people, naysayers may point to Tenet and sort of be like, oh, well, it didn't save cinema like it was supposed to. And I think that, again, that's an expectation that is unrealistic. I don't think Tenet was going to come out and all of a sudden it's making $1 billion and all this kind of stuff. It is a gradual process. And I think if it had continued to leak out over the course of the year, then maybe it would have recovered a bit more gradually. Whereas now I think we're going to be right. Whatever the next big budget thing is that does come out, it's going to have a fate similar to Tenet, I think. And we might get around to like March, April time, and it is Bond that's the first one again.
Yeah. By the way, gentlemen, before we open our doors a little bit further, and by the way, when we do, all a semblance of organization that you've been enjoying for the last 30 minutes, I promise you are going out the window. So just deal with it. You're going to hear dishes crashing and dogs barking. And that's just what happens when you have a giant Zoom. It's fine. But I do want to show everybody here, you gentlemen, as well as our audience, something very special. A new poster has been released in the last few minutes and was sent to me for Global James Bond Day. And I'm going to show it right here. So it is... it's a very interesting tagline. The mission that will change everything. The movie you will never get to watch. And then down below, if you can see, it says cross out further canceled dates, April 2021, November 2021, October 2022.
I tell you what, though, that's actually a better poster than most of the ones they've released.
Isn't it?
Listen, if you didn't come for commentary, what's the point, folks?
I can't wait for whoever is going to do the book about the road to Bond 25. I know, I mean, Matthew Field and AJ Chowdhury, or I know that they're probably, I could definitely see an appendium. Yeah. And I know Bill Koenig has been over at the Spy Command, has been keeping sort of a timeline, the road to Bond 25. Yeah. And I feel like every time he thinks it's coming to an end, oh, no, it's just another chapter. So it's because of I wish I was a fly on the wall sometimes when it comes to the discussions about releasing the film to smaller audiences, to video on demand, versus the brands, like you said,
Yeah.
who are probably saying, hey, we paid to have our product in the film. The product that was released last year doesn't do us any good if this film doesn't come out. So, and I guess somewhere, again, there's probably a tug of war going on saying we only care about the box office. No. We
Yeah.
have obligations that we have to fulfill. So yeah, I hope somebody is working on that book right now and kind of knows a little bit about it.
Joe, it's not the book or the chapter. They're already working on it. It's the sling that's because it's so big that you need to build on the book because it's so heavy.
Yeah.
There's so
Pretty
many
much, yeah.
stories that are going to come out of this. All right, gentlemen, ladies, gentlemen, everybody on the chat, we are going to open further the doors because we can only hold so much of the conversation. It's greedy of us. So we're going to admit some other friends. And again, we mentioned that this is absolutely global. So we are opening the world globally. Ladies, gentlemen, and as we do, we are going to open. And this is what I told you. See, some people haven't muted their YouTube, so you're hearing me echo. So we're going to admit some other friends, and again, which means I got to mute people.
Yes, hello there.
Hey.
All right,
Hello,
everybody
Robert.
joining, please mute your
I got my
YouTube.
sign as well. Peter.
Hey.
Of course, that's Peter Brooker.
Yes, it is.
Joe.
Everybody say hello.
Oh, sorry.
Hello. Out on room.
Hello.
Hello.
I am pulling everybody on. Hold on, slowly but surely.
Everybody looks
Say
so
it's
nice.
hello there.
Hello.
And we are just growing and growing and growing. Let's give everybody
Yes.
a chance to get on. All right, this is much bigger than I
Morton.
expected. This Zoom can only hold so many people. And we are just growing and growing and growing.
Oh my
Oh my God.
All right,
More.
mute your YouTubes, you little munchkins. All right, this is much bigger than I expected. This Zoom can only hold so many people. And we are all right, whoever's got the YouTube on, mute, or I got to mute everybody.
Oh.
Little munchkins. All right.
Don't want to delay now.
See, now I've got to mute everybody. And isn't this pleasant? But now I've got control. Now, these are some simple steps that we're going to get through the first few hours. Whoever's got their YouTube on the background, just mute it. That's all you got to do. All right, let's see if we got this. Oh. Nothing but silence. All right, let me introduce everybody. You're probably wondering who these amazing people are that have either stayed up way too late or they're up really early in the morning. All right, let me introduce everybody. You're probably wondering who these amazing people are.
Me.
Yeah, Wilfredo, I've got a booby trap list, and I'll just send you back to Facebook. Good man. All right. All right, so here we go. Yes, I'm a traditionalist, so we've got to go ladies first. Jocelyn from Ladies Who Bond, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You got really dressed up for this.
I didn't know what to expect, so I thought might as well go big or go home, right? Well, I am home, but might as well go big at home.
Guess what? You're going big and you're going home. No,
Yeah.
I see a couple tuxedos out there, though. I see some people that have shaved. Now, Jocelyn, so you are Ladies Who Bond. You do reviews, but you do a lot of connections of the James Bond women and Bond girls and things like that. What's your channel all about?
So I am trying to bring more of a female presence to the Bond community.
Outrageous. No, please keep going.
I've been a big fan for a long time, more than 10 years. I mean, since I was in middle school, and I felt like I was the only one out there in the community. And I decided to start my Instagram channel at the beginning of the year. And over the last couple of months, I have discovered that that's not the case. And women can use a little bit of a lift in the community. I mean, it's been quite a great experience meeting all these people and having so much support from everybody in the community. I feel really fortunate to have such a great group of people and sharing our love for a very, a unique franchise.
Just give it time. That'll change. Don't worry. No. It is. It's a good community. And Jocelyn, I've got to ask, because I'm asking everybody briefly as I'm introducing them. Quick 30-second or under, what was your Rorschach reaction to No Time to Die being delayed? Good, bad, happy?
Pretty neutral. I'm not surprised. I refrained from watching the music video that Billie Eilish put out because I don't want any more spoilers. And even if they're kind of related to the movie, I want to try and keep that down. And especially now with however many more months we have to wait until everything gets into better control. I mean, we're all in the same boat, so at least I can commiserate with all of you.
Nice. Yeah. And we're gonna lift everybody's spirits up. We've got a lot of people on YouTube right now that need some happy thoughts. So I'll tell you what, this next person is going to bring nothing but happy thoughts because that's what he represents. Martijn Mulder, welcome back.
Hey, hello. Nice to be here.
I gave you no pressure whatsoever. I said, you gotta uplift us, man. What are you feeling right now? You look happy as can be.
I am extremely happy to be with so many familiar faces here today. Looks very good.
People really cleaned up, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Absolutely.
Now, Martijn, you've been doing something really cool. You've been doing these 007 minutes of taking us around the world, and we've been trapped in these little horrible boxes called homes. And you're like, you know what? I know you're not going to quite get there, but I'm going to give you a taste. But they're so freaking funny. I've been sharing them. I hope you know, but I just, yeah. What was the impetus to do something like that?
Oh, you sit at home and you think, oh, what can I do? What can I do? And everybody's making all these videos. And so I got inspired, I think. And so I just decided to do the 7-minute things, which is quite a challenge, actually, because there's so much to tell and so much information you want to give and you want to show, but you have to keep it in those 7 minutes. Which is a challenge, but it's a lot of fun to make. So,
do you have enough for 6 months?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No problem.
By the way, everyone who just came on, are we drinking tonight?
Sure.
Are we? Yeah. Do we have something?
Absolutely.
Because I would like to toast everybody that just jumped into the room. Welcome everybody. Cheers. Happy Global James Bond Day.
Cheers.
Happy Global James Bond Day, everyone.
Cheers.
Wait, is Calvin drinking out of a giant bottle? Has it come to that?
I've run out of mixers, so I'm out of this, so I might need to head off in a sec.
Wow. Well, I'm going to a guy next who's very disciplined and with his drinking. But he took a break out of selling multi-million-dollar houses to be on this show. It is Jeff Wybo from James Bond Canada. Jeff, welcome.
Hey guys, thanks, David.
By the way, you are dressed for the winter or Austria or Solden
Canada,
or something.
right? So James Bond Canada.
Nice. Wait, is it cold where you are?
It's actually a nice day today, but the house is cold. We haven't switched it over to heat or anything, so.
All right. So, Jeff, I got a personal question for you because I've known you for years and you're an event guy. You love going to places. You love traveling. You love, like Martijn was saying, you love connecting with people. Were you kind of happy with the whole news because it gives us an opportunity to maybe get together?
Yeah. I think kind of like Jocelyn, I was just kind of like, oh, okay, it delayed. I got the tweet and I was like kind of expecting it kind of. Or at least I wasn't as shocked as I was back in the March one. So it wasn't too bad. Yeah, we'll see what happens in April. Hopefully we can all bond in England, but who knows? And Eon doesn't have a crystal ball. We don't have a crystal ball. We'll see what happens. But it's nice to virtually meet. I think we've seen each other on the last couple global James Bond days. So it's nice to be here virtually at least. Last time we were in New York and then Washington the time before. So pretty cool to be here. But hopefully in April we'll all see each other in person.
This isn't a horrible way. I mean, it could be worse. We could be sitting at home grousing and, watching more news about things getting delayed and things like that. So at least we're doing a little bit of a connection. And, I'm going to go to somebody right now that I can tell he's sitting in, I don't want to call it a she shed because it's a he shed and it's going to be a Bond pub. but literally the back wall is this Bond pub. So Ray Kromfeld of the Bond Armory, nice background.
Oh, thank you, sir. Oh, if you're
Looking good. Is that your new he
2019?
shed?
Yes. This is the new Bond Armory.
All right. So Ray, you talk about, obviously the Bond Armory is all about, the weaponry and what people carry and what Bond carries and things like that. 6 more months, does it give you more of an opportunity to find more hidden gems, or are you like, oh, come on, I just wanted to see the movie to discover more things?
A little bit of both. I definitely have a bunch of stuff planned, but this whole area is actually going to open up a whole new opportunity in the next 6 months. So I'm very much looking forward to that.
Nice. Now, Regal Cinemas in your areas, did you get the announcement today that they've closed?
Yeah, temporarily closed. I haven't looked into too many of them to see which ones exactly it was, but it hit us too.
Yeah, we had all 4 in our neck of the woods, which disappointing, but understandable at the same time. But we'll come back to you, Ray. Thank you. Don Zuderman, 00 Files. I took him by surprise, the poor guy. I turned his hair white practically, who has been doing some really difficult, and I think some of you on this wonderful chat have been the victims. I will call us victims of his masochistic sense of humor in giving us those quizzes. Don, why'd you do that to us? Ow, rats. Don, we can't hear you. Or is this revenge?
I thought you muted me, David. I'm sorry.
I would
had my
never
own mic
mute
on
you.
mute. There you go. Why did I do that? Well, the thing is, I all hate you. I completely hate you. So I want to put you through the ringer. No, I'm sorry. No, I think I explained it in the introduction podcast that I have this game, and you know it, the 007 Trivial Pursuit game, sitting on the shelf, not being played. And I really just wanted to have a reason to play that game and meet as many people as possible. And well, first of all, I think a couple of days ago, Pete Brooker, you're here, right?
He is.
Your episode came up, and I think you're still mad at me for that one. Yeah, I'm sorry. You were robbed. You were robbed of a beautiful contest. But most of you that are here have actually played. That's pretty crazy.
Don, I should say I got about 5 to 10 messages all saying the same thing. I was robbed. The people have spoken. These aren't my words. I'm just parlaying everybody else's messages off.
Well, Pete, let me put the challenge back to you. Start at day 1. Invite a friend, have him nominate somebody else.
You know what? I've actually just got a cold shiver up my spine. I'll cash in my chips. I got 5 out of 6. I'll settle for that. But
that's pretty good. Wait. 5 out of 6 is good. I've seen. Yeah. There's a couple people on this image right here that did not get 5 out of 6.
Now the trouble with this thing was I didn't think it through before I started. So. Okay. I was evolving the game as I went along, and things happened. For instance, somewhere around day 7, I can't remember who it was, but someone asked me, oh, can I skip this question and come back to it later? And I was thinking, shit, I don't know. Can you do that? Wait, I get to make up their own rules. I have to say something right now. No, you can't. But yeah, so eventually it got into some sort of routine, and by the time I reached contestant number 60 or 70 or 80, it was pretty much, yeah, here we go again. But the first couple of episodes, those were a bit rough around the edges.
Yes.
But I'm glad it's underway. For everybody who has no idea what I'm talking about, I played the Trivial Pursuit game with 100 people, started about 2 weeks ago. Every day you get a 4-minute tiny podcast counting down to what only can be described as a better year than 2020.
Yeah. And by the way, Don, part of this evening's discussion is, yes, we're going to talk about disappointments and grousing and this and that. Ultimately, a lot of you in this visual right now do lift people's spirits. You do. through your content, through your posts, etc. We're going to need that more than ever, if not tonight, for the next 6 months. So, Don, I know you guys do a lot of things, but I have a big question tonight, and it has to do with Jocelyn, who you just met virtually. So with Man Talk, your preeminent series called Man Talk, will you have Jocelyn as a guest?
Of course. But then after a few minutes, we have to slap her on the ass and send her out.
Jocelyn, are you okay with that?
She's gone.
She's already gone.
Yeah, she's gone. Yeah, what do you think?
Let her consider that, please. Don't gang up on her. It's not fair. Jocelyn, when they try to slap you, you curl up your fist and hit them in the face right here. You know what to do.
I'm sure it'll be the other way around with the door.
Oh, she's going to slap you. Oh, kind of liking where this is going. I'm just going to put it out there.
Yeah, that's good.
Don, all right, we're going to get back to you, buddy. Hey, I gotta pull into the conversation somebody that when I got the news, I literally wanted to call this gentleman, and we were texting back and forth because he had been listening. And I want to use that term, listening carefully, because the sounds of Hans Zimmer, the soundtracks, the music of James Bond was so big to him. And probably because his parents knew early on they were going to name their child after a composer that did Jaws and Star Wars. By the way, this is my way of getting everybody ready to talk. So John Williams, how you doing, buddy? How you doing?
I'm doing great, David. First and foremost, just want to wish everybody a happy Global James Bond Day, right?
You mean happy James Bond Day?
There it is. Yeah, this is exciting stuff. Everyone looks so happy.
Some people are showing teeth. What are you talking about?
Good. Everyone looks good.
So John, all right. So I know that you and I have texted back and forth, but was a part of you like, all right, maybe they'll just, since they showed the tracks to the music and that big spoiler, did you think like, all right, maybe they'll just release the music? I mean, the music couldn't hurt us. Is that still part of your head space?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm still hoping they do that. I know that's a bit of a long shot, but for those guys to put out the soundtrack, give us one cut, to show us the artwork, to give us the track titles, and then 24 hours later say, sorry about that, it's not going to happen. This is like the biggest, the longest foreplay I've ever experienced in life, you know?
Really?
Could make you raw.
Damn right. I was waiting for somebody to go there.
I'm right.
All right, I'm sorry. Hold on. I just need to do something. Everybody under 14, please go to bed. Thank you. All right, John, continue.
It's just like, it's like strip tease that's been going on forever with someone that you're madly in love with, you know? Ooh. So I'm hoping that somehow, legally, of course, that we get this soundtrack. I was really excited by the track listings, and a couple of the people on this call, we were breaking it down, trying to figure out what would happen, you know, what scene that was, what the title of the song meant. So it was really exciting that we got the one track. And I'm sure most of you have listened to that 55 seconds,
the gun barrel,
1,000 times, right?
Yeah.
Exactly, the gun barrel. And I just want to encourage the last 9 seconds after the gun barrel, they give you a little taste of what the track flows into. And I think it's quite interesting. There's a lot of foreboding in those last 9 seconds. Not that I've been paying attention. But yeah, let's have the soundtrack. At least give us that, right?
Just give us that. All right. We understand the canceling of the podcast, but the soundtrack.
Yeah. If I can do a soundtrack review a year before the film comes out on JVR, that would be wonderful.
John, you know who else would like the soundtrack is the gentleman I'm going to introduce next. A gentleman who's been saving us from boredom, from scratching at the walls and creating blood in our fingertips, because he created lockdown sessions where we could escape through sight and sound and explanation. How's that for a Jay Peterman description, Warren? Warren Rayon, ladies and gentlemen. Warren, you dressed for the occasion.
Wow.
Well, I took a gamble, but I wouldn't be the only one. I thought at least Calvin might wear his bow tie, but no, it's just me.
Jerome, Dutch Bond fan, is sporting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry, you're right. Yeah, I haven't put my DJ on for so long. I normally wear it most weeks on concerts and stuff. I haven't put it on for so long. I thought I better check it still fits.
Warren, you had an interesting reaction when the news broke. I read it. I think I read your reaction on Facebook first. You weren't surprised. But yeah, what was that visceral type of washing over you that happened?
No, I mean, there's obviously, like everyone else, I was really disappointed. And I think people have really covered everything there is to say on it. But I mean, just obviously dealing weekly with theatres, which is a little bit different to cinemas. People tend to lump theatres and cinemas in as one, and they're not. They're very different. But just constantly sort of talking to theatres about what's going on. And I just couldn't see how there's anywhere it was going to happen. I mean, I've had quite a few conversations with JW where I've said, there's not a cat's chance in hell this is coming out in November. I've been saying it for a while, haven't I, John? But not that I'm happy to be right. I was really looking forward to seeing it. But like it's been said, when we do see it, I want to see it in the cinema and I want to see it with all my Bond pals. I was really looking forward to April and coming down all the events. I'd taken a week of leave from work to be able to get involved in all of that. And then again in November, I hadn't kind of changed any plans, but I was all set to kind of make sure I was going to come down to London, and a lot of the JBR guys were planning to meet up, and I was kind of watching. I was in that group and I was watching it thinking, I really want to do this, but there's just no way. But hey ho, it is what it is. And yeah, we're just going to have to batten down the hatches for 6 months, maybe more, and we'll come back and it'll come. Good things come to those who wait. And the good thing is that everything that we've seen so far, it looks like it's going to be amazing, doesn't it? It really does. I've not seen anything linked to the film that I've thought, that doesn't look good. It looks brilliant. So it'll be worth the wait.
And I think that's why the sting is still there. And it's only been 48 hours, but this looked so good. And then all of a sudden we had a week and a half to 2 weeks of a surplus of hype, of things like the DHL commercial that looked great. The hope of events and things along those lines in April. And there's a lot of discussion in the chat room I'm seeing right now that it seems like most people do not feel April's realistic as well. But the hope of that would be interesting, because there are some people on this Zoom right now beforehand had some really incredible events. Mr. Luc Leclerc, how are you?
Bonjour à tous.
Bonjour, mon ami. Comment allez-vous?
Welcome to the country of freedom.
All right. Well, explain that to me. Are you guys free and clear?
Yeah, it's nice to see all these friends all together at the same time. Well done. It's nice.
It's wonderful. This is what it's all about. But how are you doing, my friend?
We are well. So I sent this morning an email to all the French fan from the French club to say, okay, we stop everything. We stop. We try to do 4 events this year, and 3 of them have been cancelled. We have done one in Chantilly 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was a huge success, but we had a big screening of the Living A View to a Kill in the garden of the park of Chantilly, of the castle of Chantilly. That was great. But we try in April, we try in November, and we try again maybe in December to do 3 events, and we had to cancel everything. That was terrible, because it's such a huge work to organize or to do something with maybe 70, 100 people. Some American people want to come in April. We had to cancel everything, a big tour in France. I see Martin, he can talk about it. So I say to the people, okay, we stop for 2020. It's over now. We stop everything. Fortunately, we sent a few days ago the last Le Bond and about Golden Eyes. We are lucky because we can talk about the all James Bond movie. And in 3 weeks, we launched the next one is ready. That is an exclusivity for you. The next one is ready about Dangereusement Vôtre in French. So that's the job we do. We've done the job in France with the magazine, with the everything we can do. But we will see next year. That will be a next show. I hope in April, but we will see.
All right. So 2 things I've got to remark on, Luc, because this is what I'm talking about. This is what I've been saying to everybody about the Bond community, and it's not a cliche at all. Nobody's paying anybody in this group right now to lift spirits, to keep people going. to create wonderful distractions, to keep the passion of Bond going. We don't have marketing dollars that go to us. We do it because people really do connect on it. And even your fan group, for example, it's very much like Bond. They don't say stop. You know, think about, what's the analogy I gave it the other day? Oh yeah, a 1-year-old who's trying to walk, they fall down 50 times. They fall down 50 times. But does a 1-year-old say, this walking thing's not for me. I'm just not going to walk through it the rest of my life? No. I mean, we've fallen down 5 times, but we're going to get back up. And, Luke, you coming out with magazines and talking about events, that's what we've got to do as a group. I truly believe that.
Yeah, sure. I sent an email to Barbara Broccoli when I knew the story. She replied in a simple sentence. She said, "Thank you for your loyalty." You say in English, loyalty.
Yeah.
I say, wow, she's great. She replied first, thank you, thanks to her. But she knows that we are so many people, like all the friends there and many other. She knows that we are fans, and we are fans of the film before, and maybe the next movie we will have next year, and some other one after again. But she knows that there is a lot of people behind her, and that's important for her. And I think, that is my opinion, that will be maybe the last time that she will drive a Bond movie.
Oh.
For me, the story in 5 or 3 or 4 or 5 years, maybe they will change everything. Maybe with something new, new distribution, new people with money in it, and I think they will. That is maybe the last movie of Eon MGM. That is my opinion.
A lot of people share that opinion. I mean, the last frame of the movie could be, brought to you by Apple. Who knows? We'll see when it comes out. Maybe not. But I'll tell you, Luke, your wonderful French accent has motivated me to go to this next gentleman who, although doesn't live in France, certainly has still a wonderful French accent. Who knew? Mathieu Auclair from James Bond Complex. You got dressed up too, man. You look like you're going to like a pitch, like a madman.
First time in months.
You clean up well. I'm just going to put it out there.
I shave.
Now, Mathieu, you are one component, one wonderful puzzle piece of the James Bond complex represented in Canada, much like our Jeff Weibo, but you guys serve up a lot of interesting content, and I know you're keeping it hot and heavy. I'm going to ask you what I've asked some of the other people. When you heard that you've got to, do more for 6 months, do you feel like it's daunting, or do you like, damn it, yeah?
Oh, I damn it, yeah.
Nice.
We already have so much stuff in the pipeline already. That doesn't change a thing whether the movie's pushed back or not. I mean, here in Montreal, we're actually already in lockdown. I don't think there were going to be any way we were going to see the movie. So I'm not entirely disappointed with the postponement, the other postponement. So we have plenty of stuff. It's like Edgar was texting me, and for my birthday we're going to release a License to Kill episode that's going to be early January. He's like, I want to do something badass, and I'm like, okay, what do you propose? License to Kill for my birthday? Yeah. I love License to Kill. But yeah, no, we're not stopping. We already have the James Bond, the Casino Royale fan commentary that's starting to come out today. I don't know if you've listened to the episode. That's something where we worked with Emery.
Can you explain to the audience, though, because we've got quite a few people on here, what that is? Because I don't think it's ever been done before, what you did.
Well, I don't think it was.
Or may never be done again.
Who knows? Honestly, initially we wanted to do, I think that's something I proposed. Oh, let's all ask other content creators to record their own chapter of Casino Royale and sort of publish that. And I don't remember who said it. I think it's Bill Koenig said, yeah, that book is copyrighted. You can't really do that. And we went, oops, and put our thinking cap on, because we kind of felt like we had something. And I don't remember who came up with the idea of a commentary track, but we proposed the updated idea to people. And honestly, the first episode, because at first I'm like, is it going to work? Are people going to have a lot of things to say about the book? And the first episode we got, I think it's Bud West, and I didn't have the greatest day, and I listened to his episode, and I'm like, at first I was like, oh God, we got something. It's gonna be fun, and like, I really like. I know Bill. I saw his face, but Bill, but sorry, you really you put a smile on my face that day. I really like your episode. Everyone's that I've listened so far is great. It's a fun. We can't have a gathering together, but this is the closest thing where we can all come and play together.
What I love about it so far that you did was you took kind of the Fleming Reading Challenge aspect. Before that was even birthed, quite frankly, you came up with this idea. So kudos to you. And you took that, 90-minute discussion that we might have in a live stream, and you stripped it out against different personalities. And for 6 minutes or so, you can really hear how people, it's like a Rorschach test, what they think of each chapter. And I hope you do with every book. It's really fascinating. But you guys also got to keep coming out with good stuff, because you guys are a wonderful distraction during this.
We're trying our best.
You're doing a good job. You're doing a good job. All right. I've got to go to, I think there might be maybe a 3-way tie with the best looking outside of Jocelyn people on here. Certainly we just spoke to Jeff Wybo, so we're going to put him to the side because, he might win. But Dutch Bond fan, I think he's right up there. They talk about his jawline way too much, and I don't know what that's about. But Jerome, what is going on, buddy?
Doing good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, but not as good as you, because we're in a pandemic and you're wearing a frickin' tuxedo. Holy cow.
I'm always dressed like this, David. You know I am.
dude, you step out of bed like with that hair, just like boom. Now listen, you've done a couple things with you. I love your connection was a little warbly for a second, but I'll tell you, one of the things that I love that you brought to the table is, we've got strong opinions in this community. And you know what? It is safe to say that just like politics and religion and pandemic, not everybody agrees with everybody. And guess what? That's actually okay. I know it's hard for people to realize that, but it's actually okay. But you've got some strong opinions. I'd love to know your opinion about, obviously, the news. I'm sure we're going to see some material from you, but, what was your first impression?
Kind of like most other people. In April, I was so hyped for this. I was so ready. And then when it got pushed back again, it wasn't really a surprise anymore. But, because last time I booked my plane ticket to London, I booked my hotel and all that stuff. Now I did have a plane ticket, but I didn't bother yet for the hotel. I was like, I don't know what COVID's going to do yet. So we're just going to wait and see. And then.
All right. Is that breaking up for everybody, or is it just me?
For all of us.
Everybody.
Jerome, you may have been postponed till April 2nd. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Too soon?
Connection is not right. It's not right, is it?
All right, now I can hear you. Keep going.
It's Friesland.
He's freezing. We're going to come back to him. We're going to come back to you, buddy. For sure. All right. So we've got a couple. We're going to come back to you, though. We got to give you your moment in the sun. And by the way, once we get through introductions, and I know it's a long introduction, but I hope everybody's comfortable. If you need to go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom. That includes the panelists.
Don is going, guys.
Already? Now?
Yeah, already. Yeah. I think he has to teach tomorrow.
Who's got to teach?
Don. Don Zuiderman.
Don, be good, my friend. Take care.
Cheers, mate.
Take care, buddy. They grow up so fast. We lose them. That's going to happen, by the way. We have 1,000 people on, but they're going to grow up so fast. And speaking of growing up so fast, my gosh, this gentleman who I'm going to introduce probably needs no introduction. Journalist first. Let me just say that. I'll say it slowly. Journalist first, because he has interviewed, oh, I don't know, Brad Pitt and, people that, we get scam letters from. He's actually talking to them in real life. Morten, how are you, my friend? King of Norway.
Well, I'm not yet king. I'm just the prince. No, it was a bad joke.
But once the king is dead, you're in, buddy.
Yeah, the king is actually quite ill at the moment. So,
Geez,
maybe
so
the throne will be ready. No, it's okay. So, and thank you very much for being, part of this panel and part of the this episode. It feels, I have to admit, a bit strange to see all, because now I suddenly have all the, a big part of the Bond fan community in my living room, and it's great.
Do you have enough drinks to go around?
Yeah, I have enough drinks. I'm drinking. I was just back from a trip a round trip in Europe, so I'm a little bit tired. That's why I haven't shaved, if some people noticed. So I'm just, drinking some pints today.
Now, Morten, speaking of pints, because I know you love a good Negroni. So, I mean, the news that this has happened, there were some things obviously going on in Oslo and Norway with No Time to Die. All those things with events have been postponed. I mean, what does that do for your psyche around enjoying the movie?
Well, originally they were planning I think a very big event and a premiere in late March, early April in Oslo, because as most of you know, No Time, or like everyone knows, No Time to Die, they shot several scenes in Norway. So of course it was slowly cancelled, and I think that everyone would feel, if a Bond movie is shot in your home country, whether it's America or Spain or France or even UK, it's something special. So the postponement was, I wouldn't really say it was like everyone's saying now. It wasn't really a big shock, but it's sad. But I think it's positive, or at least there's a bigger chance perhaps that we will all be able to meet physically, maybe in April. So I'm trying to look at it in a positive way. But the thing I was really surprised by really last week wasn't really the delay of the movie, but the fact that they had started the marketing machinery, and all the campaigns and all the brand collaborations were out. So it will be exciting to see how they will be able to get us hyped again next year.
But I mean, I'll just throw this out. I mean, a part of us, Joe Darlington, as he takes his mask off to drink his Negroni, that was perfect timing, by the way. He had a great point of showing images of Charlie Brown kicking the football, but not kicking the football because Lucy always takes it away. But think about it. I mean, if we're Charlie Brown never learns. Charlie Brown from 1962, 2020, Charlie Brown is still trying to kick that football because Charlie Brown doesn't stop. Thank you, Joe. Yes, but I bet you the audience knew what we were talking about. But thank you. No, that's good. Just hit us over the head. But it's a great question, because can we really get hyped and psyched in February or March? Because isn't it just going to be taken away again?
I think that, from a marketing point of view, it's interesting that they have really, had several marketing campaigns for this movie already, and they've launched, many, TV spots, different trailers, different character posters, so many times now. So will we get kind of like brand new character posters next year, a brand new trailer, and then you can ask yourself what's left to show in the movie. So it will be very interesting to see how they will be able to create that excitement. But I think that also the Bond fan community, I think that we will also be we will be able to get us excited by each other, and I'm sure that we will do events, and we will do interviews and podcasts about the new movie. So I think that there will be, at least for us, it will be plenty to talk about.
But how can we possibly expect James Bond Netherlands Dorrit to drive a Defender like the way he did in all that water for a second time? Dorrit, welcome. How are you, man?
I'm fine, David. Thank you. Hello, everyone.
You did that, though. You drove through a ton of water.
I did. Yeah, it was great fun. That's
So
great.
you're going to do that again to get us excited? What are you going to do?
Well, what will we do? We have a video with the defender left. We're going to talk about 5 Land Rover moments in all the films. It's pre-recorded, so that's what we will bring out. And I'm also working on a video about the Lotus Esprit from Nguyen Di Nguyen. He's from Germany, as many of you maybe know. He's passionate about his Lotus cars, so that's coming up. And of course, all the other Bond news, because No Time to Die is delayed, but there is so much more.
So are you driving that Lotus into the water like you did the Defender?
It was maybe, yeah. Could be. I think that Nguyen would be very angry, but
Yeah, he would. By the way, you actually did a great coverage piece on the James Bond experience. It wasn't the Bond experience. Did they have that planned for the new movie, like those little pop-ups experiences that you encountered?
Well, yeah, it was a surprise for me. I got the email from Universal Pictures Netherlands to participate in the event, but it was only in April. It wasn't for the November release, and yeah, it went a bit quiet. But that's the crazy thing, and I think that everyone experienced that that thing last week. There was so much going on, and from the one moment to the other, it was completely stopped. It was 10 a.m. here, 10 p.m. here, and it canceled. They brought out the DHL thing. They brought out all the branding things, and there was on Global James Bond Day on this day. My sources told me that there was many things were coming for No Time to Die today, and it all canceled. So that's a crazy situation. I say for myself, it's going on a train with 300 kilometers an hour at one moment, and then the second moment you were tossed off.
Wow,
that's what happened. It was crazy.
That's not subtle. I don't know.
No,
if you
it's
know.
not. No, it's not.
That's going to leave a mark.
Yeah, I've got a bit of a bruise here, small one.
Holy cow! All right, man. So we're gonna have a watch on you just to make sure you don't do anything like throw yourself from a train or a Lotus. So we're going to move to Mr. Peter Brooker, who was slightly abused earlier, but I noticed that he's wearing a long lost friend, and you're probably wondering, like, what is he talking about? You've got your View to a Kill on today, buddy.
I have. It's my favorite jacket. I came dressed in the RGT No Time to Die jacket, but I'm sitting next to the heater and I was cooking in that. So
are you planning on like experimenting with some horses? I'm going to get letters for this, by the way, folks.
You know what I was going to do? I was going to do what Joey at Friends did, which was put on all of my James Bond clothing. Like just pile it all on and see if I could fit everything on. But
oh my gosh, that's a lot.
Yeah. I didn't know what to decide this morning for Global James Bond Day. Am I going to be walking around in the tux all day, getting sweaty? Not a great idea. So, yeah, I had a few costume changes today.
I like that. Peter, you and I have been WhatsApping left and right, but I think this is actually the first time talking since the news broke. I know that, and I'm going to call you out in the most positive of way. We'll see. You really took a left-hand turn about a month or so ago, and you took a very James Bond sartorial approach, obviously, from Tailors with Love, and you took a left-hand turn and started to do things other than James Bond. Did you have a premonition that you were going to have to move away from James Bond for a bit?
Well, some people have said that I've got a crystal brain and I can see down the pipe. No, not really.
It's just the physicality of it.
I think Matt Spacer, we were talking about, we were about 75 episodes into the podcast at the time, and we'd done nothing but talk about James Bond's style. And after a while, it gets a little bit crowded in terms of we didn't really know which way to turn anymore, what topics to cover. We did do the Towers of Bond, and then I think the next one we were going to do the Pocket Squares of Bond.
Where do you go from there?
Exactly. There really is nowhere else to turn. So yeah, pants. So yeah, we decided that we'd like to talk about other stylish movies. We tried to keep it within the Bond sphere sometimes, so like we've just reviewed Marnie. That's going to be a coming episode. A couple of Sean ones, some other spy ones that we've already done that are kind of in the genre of James Bond, if not in the wake of him. that makes any sense. So yeah, just trying something else new, just to keep it interesting for us, I suppose. Was the idea.
Well, your partner in crime, Matt Spazer, is on board today. Matt, welcome to the show. Hope you're doing well.
Hey, David. Thanks for having me on.
Well, thank you for dressing for the occasion. Some of us didn't. I don't know if you notice. T-shirts, at least wear a collar, right?
Oh yeah, always wear a collar.
Matt, have you ever worn a T-shirt?
I have worn a T-shirt, but it's been over 20 years since I've like gone out of the house without a T-shirt on.
Can I ask something morbid? Are we friends enough that I can ask something morbid?
We are, but I don't know everyone in this room.
When you pass on, can I put a T-shirt on you? I assume it's going to happen. No, you're going to outlast me, buddy. You're so healthy. Matt, all right. So listen, we're mishpucha, we're family. I mean, you hear the news. I know you want the movie because you want to drink in that sartorial aspect. What is he wearing? What is he doing? Has this put a giant pause on your passion?
Yeah, I have been really waiting to find out, are there more clothes in the new film that we haven't seen yet? That's the question that all the sartorial Bond people really want to know. And now there might be more. We're not going to know for a really long time. And I do want to talk more about these clothes, but I want some more answers, because there are answers that we're not going to get about the clothes until we see them in the context of the film. So I have so many questions, and I just can't wait to see the film because of this. But at the same time, I understand why the film was delayed. I'm a little relieved because the cinemas never opened up where I live. They haven't been open since March where I live. So and they were not planning on opening them up anytime soon. So
Matt, you live in New York City, correct?
I am in New York City.
It's worth mentioning. Yep.
But yeah, so the whole state, all of New York State, has not had any cinemas open for a long time. And now, I mean, I could easily go over to New Jersey to see a film like some of my friends have done. But it's just something that I have been nervous about, and at least now I feel like I'm not going to be missing it. Maybe I'll still be missing it in April. I don't know.
You might. We're gonna have to wait and see for sure. And by the way, somebody along the kind of routes that we're talking about I wanted to welcome a gentleman who I think he's drinking a Negroni, but I'm not too sure. Commando Bond, known as Caleb Daniels. Caleb, you may be, I'm trying to think, and I don't like to do ageism. I don't like to do ageism young, and knowing how old I am, I don't like to go old either. Mike Poplowski. But Caleb, you are one of the younger content creators out there. And one of the things I love about Commando Bond is something you posted today is you're not letting anything stop you. I mean, you work at a rifle range. You do a lot of things with the armament of James Bond. You put together, you research the different things that Bond uses, and then you actually apply it in your vocation. Where did that spark of Bond come from? I mean, how to start young?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked a little bit about it before. I was randomly gifted. My grandfather gave me a 3-packet set of the DVDs of the Connery movies when I was a kid. And it was the time when the DVDs weren't coming out in like chronological order. So I think it was like Diamonds Are Forever, From Russia with Love, and Thunderball maybe. And so that's the one reason why I can actually somewhat enjoy watching Diamonds, because I did watch it like very young. So it kind of fits in with like that childhood aspect, I guess. But yeah, from that on, it really made it a lot of fun to learn about the kit, the gear, and the things that Bond utilizes. And living in the Midwest, I have more ready access than some. And so I was able to actually start getting practical application with that as well.
Yeah, that is an important distinction. So Caleb is from the Midwest, lives in the Midwest. When you see his videos, you'll understand that it's not everywhere in the world that you can do what he does, but it does make it interesting because it's cultural. And that's the thing. I mean, I think there's been an interesting discussion with people around the world of, oh my gosh, what is he doing? But it is also part of the culture of the Midwest, and you show a different side of Bond, and Bond is very capable with weaponry, and it's something that you've embraced.
Well, it certainly is, and I think one of the things that I find most interesting is a lot of my follower base, the people I communicate with on like a daily basis in DMs or whatever, that they're from overseas. They're people who haven't had the opportunity to experience those things. And honestly, one of the things that I'm most passionate about is really creating like changing minds necessarily, but really just making people feel comfortable with those sorts of things. Like, I'm not here to intimidate or make people feel uncomfortable. And it's fun, and I want to be showing responsibility and doing things properly, etc., and giving that teaching aspect along with it. Those are the things that I've been most passionate about in the 6 years I've worked in the firearms industry, and latching it in with Bond really allows me to connect my two passions in the best of ways.
Well, first of all, I like the fact that seriously, what we're showing here, and I know we don't have 50% of these people, 50% of these people, it's not an equal representation, and that's fine. But you know what? There's so many different genders, political affiliations, whatever, that like Bond, we also have young people. And what's interesting about you, Caleb, and I know you're celebrating your 16th birthday today. No, that's not true. He's in his 20s, folks. That was so mean. He just looks young, is what I'm saying.
He does.
But Caleb, do you realize what you've done in the Bond community? You've made Calvin Dyson look old. Calvin, how do you feel about this?
I hate him for that.
Right?
Yeah. It's that Roger Moore youth tonic. It's like you take it and then you're good until you're about 55, and then it's like a steep decline.
Do they call it a View to a Kill or an Octopussy decline? What is? I just made Joe Darlington very upset, by the way.
No, I'm good. You could diss on my Octopussy. It's okay.
I love Octopussy. I got the freaking robe downstairs, and it doesn't even fit. Allegedly.
This is true.
All right, this is where we start to degrade. I do want to go back to a gentleman who is like Bond because he finds a way to make things work, just like Bond. He's resourceful. Dutch Bond fan, you look clearer. You look more clear than ever.
Thanks, man. Yeah, no, I was on my laptop earlier, and hopefully you can hear me now better.
Are you on a Nokia? I heard those Nokias are amazing for missions.
3310. Yes. We still don't use those in the Netherlands.
Good man. So
can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you perfectly. And I want to go back to my original question because, I love, you are a YouTuber, so you've got podcasters, you got YouTubers, you've got location people on here. You've got people that have sartorial, you got music people, you've got fan clubs, we've got representation, but you are a YouTuber. I mean, what was your motivation when you heard this? Was it, all right, I've got a ton of material. Look out, folks. I mean, what went through your mind?
Yeah, exactly. I had a lot of No Time to Die stuff planned, and I was so ready for all of it. And just like everybody else, the balloon popped again for the 5th time. So I was kind of like, what now? I don't know yet what content I'm gonna be putting out yet. I still have to refresh, but yeah, I had a lot of I had my plane tickets for London. I had my hotel booked, all that stuff. This time I didn't even book a hotel because I had no clue what COVID was going to do. But I have my plane tickets. I rebooked them to April. So hopefully this is going to be the final postponement.
But something, take inspiration. And by the way, this goes for everybody in the chat room too. Take inspiration from people like Martijn, who decided, you know what, I'm a location guy. I'm gonna have people travel virtually. Luke, who talked about, my fan club is still going to exist and thrive, not just survive, but thrive off of the content that we create. And then I'm going to bring it back to Warren Ringham. Warren Ringham said, guys, the very livelihood of my entire band is not only in jeopardy, it is paused, and we don't know for how long. And they could have just said, something, we'll see you whenever. And they didn't. Warren, I mean, again, and I don't mean to keep hammering on this. There's a video coming out tomorrow on my channel about your lockdown. And I know Joe did one as well. But I mean, was that part of your impetus to do these lockdown sessions to say, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore?
Yeah, partly, but it was also an opportunity as well to do stuff that we would never normally get the opportunity to do, which is more of the cues from the films. Because generally speaking, when we go out, we're not playing to a hardcore enough audience to justify doing Flight into Space and Capsule in Space and all those great tracks that everybody here will love. But I mean, we did it in we did Flight to Space in one concert, and one guy got up and walked out. He said, I don't want to listen to this brass band music or something. And it's like, but so no, the idea was to take the opportunity to get into an empty theater, and we were recording for 4 days. We did over 100 cues and songs from the films to put them out in a series of 12 online concerts, all completely unique from each other, and do something hopefully that the community will really enjoy. Because I mean, we're playing some of those tracks have never been played since they were played for the soundtracks, and we've done everything from Dr. No right up to the present day, and loads of cues from Arnold Barry. We did loads of stuff from For Your Eyes Only, Live and Let Die. I think some of you have seen the Live and Let Die ones out now, and the On Her Majesty's Secret Service concerts out. We did about 8 or 9 cues from there. So yeah, it's they're out. There's 2 of them are out. We've got 10 more to come out over the course of the next sort of 8 months or so, and I hope that people will come and give it a go.
I mean, to me, the fact that we just got paused. I mean, let's face it. Tonight on Jimmy Fallon, we have Daniel Craig and Billie Eilish and her brother, and they're going to do the song. And Daniel Craig is going to be on Jimmy Fallon, and they're introducing an actual clip from the film. So I've heard this from a gentleman at UAR. It's not going to be a trailer. They're going to introduce an actual piece of the film. Once that is done, we're not going to hear from them until 2021. I can almost promise that. And I don't know anything. I don't have any insider, but I can almost promise that. So it really is the Bond community, the Bond fans that have to pave the way. Your lockdown sessions, of which I've been privy to, and you were foolish enough to make me like one of the co-hosts of one of them, but they're so much fun because I think people think it's, just music. And what a horrible thing to just say just. And I know John Williams is having like quivers up his back, just. But it is behind the scenes. It's discussions. It's composers. It's all these things. I mean, people here, I'm just so in awe when you all come out with these things. Luke, you had something to say.
Yeah, to the girl. Look at Jeff Webo.
Oh, see, you don't work with kids and animals because they steal the show. Is that Sadie?
But what time is it? She has to be in bed now.
No, it's too early. It's 4:26 where he is. Sadie, it's Uncle David. Take all of his stuff and put it in the mail. You know my address. Especially the autograph. Sadie.
Thank God Jeff married up.
And Sadie, for God's sakes, put bubble wrap around it, honey. Bubble wrap. And by the way, check out my video tomorrow. We are having some sneak peeks at Warren's Live and Let Die. But the David Arnold stuff is just amazing. So I've got to go to a gentleman because I call him an archivist. I don't know if he calls himself an archivist. I call him an archivist because what he does is he collects literally. Oh my gosh, Jeff, that is the tiniest creature I've ever seen. No, send it back. It's too small. That doesn't fit.
Oh my God.
That is small. I'm sorry. Wilfredo Picarelli of James Bond Television. He collects the best movies, commercials, television. He's got a strong opinion. And you know something? He even puts things that are a bit titillating. And why not? It's James Bond. Wilfredo, my friend, how are you?
I'm doing fine, David. How are you? Feliz Dia.
Oh, yeah. Feliz Dia.
Feliz Dia, James Bond. How are you?
Dude, my French is better than my Spanish. I'm sorry. I got nothing.
We are international, David. We are international.
We're a global audience. That's why we have Calvin Dyson here to represent the global aspect. But Wilfredo, let me ask you a question. First of all, is that the biggest TV I've ever seen behind you, or is that a projection wall?
That's my projector. That's a gift from my wife this past Christmas. So this is my Bond man cave right here.
I love
That's where I do all my stuff here.
Yeah,
so just celebrating the day, man.
Wilfredo, I got to tell you.
Yeah.
That clip you've been running in the background, I've pilfered it so many times. I know exactly what it is. Good one.
It's not that hard, is it?
It's pretty easy. It's pretty easy. But
yeah.
Wilfredo, let me ask you a question, because I've got so many things to say to you. First of all, you are when you do one of your videos, it is and check out James Bond Television exclusively on Facebook. When you do one of your videos, it is so passionate because you usually start out like this. Let me do my impression of you. Can I do it? All right. It starts out like this. This is how it starts. Oh, I want to. Ooh, guys, that's the beginning of every one of your videos. You've got so much passion for Bond.
Yes.
And I think it's so unfiltered. Where does that passion come from?
Well, I'll tell you what, all the way back to 1977.
Holy
and
cow.
I'm going to give you a Star Wars reference.
Half of my panel wasn't born, but go ahead.
Back in 77, Star Wars was on, and I was blown away with Star Wars. But the same summer, The Spy Who Loved Me came. And then my dad said, let's go see The Spy Who Loved Me. And I said, I don't want to see Spy Who Loved Me. I want to see Star Wars. And I went to see The Spy Who Loved Me, arguing about want to see Star Wars. And about 3 years later, my dad, used to tell me, let's watch James Bond on television. Okay, let's watch James Bond on television. So we eat Chinese dinner, and I just saw Thunderball and said, oh my God, who is this guy? Who is this guy? And since then, I got my Thunderball poster right there. And since I discovered James Bond on television, that's why I put the name of the page, James Bond Television, because that's from there was the genesis for my passion to James Bond.
For me, it's so interesting to watch a lot of the content creators grow and explode. Calvin just had a 10-year anniversary video. To see him as this young guy, and I know he was hard on himself, but he did great 10 years ago. He's doing amazing now. To see that growth is amazing. You started out with, honestly, a couple of videos here and there, and thousands upon thousands of people gravitated. And I think you're up to like 7,000 or something on Facebook or more.
12,000.
Oh, geez. Don't have me do your PR is what I'm saying. But I mean, I think a lot of it is because people are nostalgic. I mean, James Bond is nostalgic. When I heard in the newest podcast that they have to keep certain tropes, certain traditions alive with James Bond, change the people around him, change the environment, fine. But don't change James Bond too much. I think you subscribe to that because of what you post.
That's right, because we love James Bond. We all became fans because the way James Bond is, the cinematic James Bond, that is. Some of us like the James Bond in the books, but for me, or most of us, we grew up with the cinematic James Bond. And those tropes that Art Broccoli put on the films, we used to love. And thank God when Daniel Craig got that interview in the first and only podcast from No Time to Die, I was in a way relieved because, oh my God, that's good. That's good. We're going to have a brand new James Bond, a new 21st century Bond, but with the elements that Cubby Broccoli put on the James Bond character.
Exactly. And it causes a bit of a revolution, but I want to thank you for coming on, and we're going to be asking kind of some general questions very soon because, Facebook gave you a platform, but you created the momentum. And speaking of creating platforms, some of you do not know this. I think many of you do, but some don't, that there's a gentleman on here that created a platform for little me way back when he had the Bond lifestyle. And it was an amazing page and said, David, we're friends. If you want to put your videos up on there. And I put my abysmal, very sophomoric videos. And I would not be doing this event. I would not be on YouTube, and I would not be the Bond Experience without Remmert von Braun, who is family, friend, and someone I respect incredibly. Oh, that was almost emotional, Remmert.
Thanks for the introduction, Dave.
Did you feel it?
Yeah, no, yeah, I feel it. Yeah, Nate, that's been.
Dude, if I don't make one person cry, I got to end the live event. Didn't work.
No, time has flown. Yeah, Nate. Yeah, it's been already, I guess, 8 years ago or something, or 9 years ago when you started the videos on there.
It's amazing. It's amazing to see everything transform. And you and I are still, you know, I know that you are as engaged, if not more, quite frankly, with the brands and with I'm going to call it something. I'm going to call it the trials and tribulations and the journey of the brands with these stops and starts of No Time to Die. What's your take on things?
I mean, this has been crazy for of course the production companies, but also the brands around it. It's been like such a not really a surprise. Like people said that the movie was, I guess, delayed, at least not for me, and I think a lot of people here feel the same. And I was more surprised how much actually was put out the last few weeks and you know, in a month, like the videos, of course, trailers, but also the products. Of course, they were going on with them, and then the DHL commercial and so many things went on. So I almost started to doubt myself. I'm like, well, they're not going to put out the movie, but it looks like they're going to give away everything right now, and they did. So it's an incredible situation that has definitely not happened before, where now they have to do that all again in April. And I think one of the product examples is the Swatch watch that they had first released in March. Now tomorrow they're going to release the second Swatch watch that is a slight different model, which is basically the same, but blue. It's like, you know, they made it blue, you know. Like, I hope there's a reason for it in the movie, but if there's not, then it's like kind of, you know. But are they going to do a yellow one in April? Well, I think they might, because I think maybe they offer these brands a second opportunities to you know, get some more value for their money, or to keep them on board or whatever. Or it seems like that some products have been released like that. So I'm very curious what they're going to do in April and how much we're going to actually get, because we almost got everything that was planned, I think, by now. So there's really not that much more in the pipeline. So yeah, it will be a great, in that sense, wait 6 months to see what's going to happen. And I'm pretty excited. I mean, they say, like, you know, anticipation is half the fun. Well, in this case, anticipation is 90% of the fun, basically, I think, because we're going to be, just anticipating for the whole time.
To me, as far as I know, Remmert, and you may know otherwise, there were only 3 brands that were about to launch but didn't launch. Smirnoff, I heard, was literally moments away from launching. So they have not launched. So their powder is dry, as they say. Also, Globetrotter was going to have their second big launch leading up to the movie. So their powder is a bit dry. And then there's another brand, and I am just blanking right now, but I think there's very few. And maybe that was, and I know these are all conspiracy theories. Let's get our tinfoil hats on. Well, the tinfoil roll that Joe Darlington has, he has like a Costco one. It's huge. But did they want to get all the brand messaging out? Were they contractually obligated in 2020 to get these brand moments out? Had to get them out, but still also had to delay the movie. Is that a possibility?
I guess it is. It almost looks like it, because the announcement was in a way so sudden after, like, sort of first all these videos and even the music video, and so many things coming out with November, and that you know, like it seems like, I mean, you would think that the decision was made earlier than, you know, last Friday, basically, much earlier. I would say, because I mean it seems like impossible to get a movie out by November and make it profitable enough. But I really don't know what's going on in the scenes. I don't have any inside information on that, so I really don't know what their thinking is. And you might be right that you know, certain contracts have to be fulfilled, so the products are coming out, and the products will probably still do well, because I mean they came out, you know, some are limited edition. There's not much, you know, they need to just sell those. But I guess things like Heineken again, you know, or like those big companies that have those massive exposure in every single supermarket around the world, like they, I guess, you know, didn't do anything yet, you know. So yeah,
like Heineken.
Wow.
Cheers, guys. Proost, jongens.
But so I think those ones did hold off. Like I didn't see the stores full of Heineken yet, you know. So I think they might have known, or they might have been told already, like, don't, you know, put out billions and billions of Heineken cans with November on it. Because I think those things will come out in April next year again.
Yeah. Let's hope. If April is the date, which I know is a big discussion in the chat room right now. Remmert, by the way, I've got to give you kudos, and also whatever the opposite of kudos is at the same time, because your page, which really does help to focus on brands and the sartorial aspect, has given birth to other content creators, other pages like Dressing Like Bond, for example. Harris Thomas, who I know you're all too familiar with, But Harris, welcome back, I should say.
What's going on, guys?
What are you wearing? What are you wearing?
I'm wearing a little Mason and Sons Connery Goldfinger jacket. You know, we got to pay our tributes to Mr. Connery on James Bond Day. So, you know, you can find that on Rimmert's website too. So
By the way,
there.
your Southern accent is like more prominent than ever. Is everything okay? I mean, are you been south lately?
Good. Everything's good.
Because the pandemic is rampant down there.
Is it?
Yeah, we haven't been there. We've been to the West Coast. We JW and I survived the week-long James Bond celebration during the summer, and So here we are. Hey, thanks for making this happen again. We've been together now 3 years in a row on Global James Bond Day, just like Jeff was talking about a little bit ago.
We have. I mean, despite my best intentions, we do keep coming back together, which is fine. But so Harris, listen, you used to be one of the young Turks, and then Caleb and Chris and Jocelyn walked into the room and said, "Hold my beer." But you know what? You do hold up the end as far as the sartorial aspect. You took the news really well. I mean, you were like an old soul, because I mean, you're like, what are you, like 20? You're 27. Do you mind me mentioning your age? There, I said it.
It's all good, man. I'm just here. Yeah, 27.
You're an old soul,
I
though,
took
but
it. I mean,
you took it well.
Yeah, I mean, I think there'll be a video coming out here in the next few weeks of a group of us recently doing a little cocktail hour. And if I remember correctly, the video will be my proof. I got yelled at by 8 individuals about how everyone said the movie was coming out in November, and I said it was coming out not in November, and everybody ridiculed me. I'm right. I'm right. So bring it on. Bring it on.
Really? This is how you want to portray yourself, as I told you so guy? All right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes.
I mean, it's an interesting
Yeah.
PR technique. It's going to really create a lot of embracing.
Well, sometimes you're right. Sometimes you're not.
All right. So
I'm
I got to
typically
tell you
wrong,
something.
So when
I don't even have to ask you a question I've been asking everybody, which is I've been asking everybody, how are you going to create stuff and lift up the Bond community for the next 6 months? But you literally live the Bond lifestyle. Sorry, Remmert, I know it's patented. You live the Bond lifestyle and you take pictures of yourself with Bond girls and in situations. I mean, really, you're just going to live your best life for the next 6 months, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's been an interesting year for us all. It's been a most especially interesting year for me. We're moving to New York. So if you had told me I was going to see No Time to Die while living in New York, I would have told you were lying.
Look how excited Matt is, by
yes.
the way. He's so excited.
I know, it's going to be great. We're going to be neighbors. I'm going to get some good photography, I hope, through his photographer. But hey, the next 6 months, I think it's going to fly by. I think there's going to be a lot of James Bond content that will come out based on this panel. And we've got another movie to get excited for that we're still excited for. I mean, we've been waiting this long. We might as well wait a little longer. And I think I told you privately, it does give us a chance to potentially recreate what we had going earlier this year.
Yeah.
And I'd much rather wait 6 months to be able to do that again, and hopefully we can, because we were 3 weeks away from a life-changing, couple of days. So I'm being selfish and want to be able to do that again.
No, I'm with you, man. If there is a 10% chance of us all getting together, whether it's April or it's November 2021, whatever it is, I'm in for it, because to me, I know Wilfredo is like, come on, man, you're killing me. It's the celebration. It's the getting together. I mean, I just want to be with all of you, seriously.
Right.
And we had some big plans. We were country jumping, and my gosh, let's do that again, right?
I was carrying your Globetrotter bags. I mean, it was going to be a great time. It was a great time.
I mean, you say that like it's a bad thing, but I mean, that's a pretty good job.
It's really not. You get cold martinis and you get to hang out with Globetrotter luggage. I mean, come on.
What's better than that? And by the way, I know where you're going. I guess Wednesday, you're going to be heading down to what you do for a living, but there is the Bond girl Jane Seymour going to be showing up this year again?
She's not. You can blame the coronavirus for that. So I will have to postpone my next date night with Jane for 6 more months. But hey, it is what it is, right?
You know, I don't want to make this a contest on this live stream, because that would be so me. But I think Morten has had more connections with Bond girls than you have. Does that disturb you? Or
Well, no, it doesn't, because Morten's the only reason that I had those connections. So shout out to Morten. Skull.
What?
To you, sir.
Skull. That's everybody's
so-
skull.
Skull. No, I mean, you know, Morten, he's a hero. And he helped me out a good time, and so is Mr. Wybo. So you know, both of those guys put me in touch. Jane Seymour, though, was all me. I just walked right up to her.
Are you
but
using
everybody
Jeff
else-
Wybo? Because I know you're looking for a place in Brooklyn. Are you using Jeff Wybo for tips and tricks on the real estate market in Brooklyn? That's what we want to know.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I am working now with the United States government to try to get Jeff Wybo to be able to come in short term, 14 days to help negotiate with me. Because, you know, we're looking for the correct penthouse for Dressing Like Bond in his new HQ. So, you know, you got to bring in a vet like Mr. Wybo and Sadie. Really, it's all about Sadie. It's not about Jeff. It's about Sadie.
Sadie's very busy right now. But you know what? Speaking of, you know, really not knowing the market, we've got to go to the culture of Bond. Mike Poplawski. Michael, you and I have known each other, oh my gosh, I think it's going on 65 years right now, when you were about 30. And I remember you telling me early on, when you were talking to Fleming on his island and babysitting him, I guess my point is that Michael thinks he's an the old guy in the hobby. He's not. You've got a step, but you live the Fleming and Bond lifestyle every day, don't you?
Yeah, you know, it's funny you say that. Hopefully I'm coming over clearly. You can all hear me.
Almost too clearly, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Cheers, Warren.
I was thinking of my earliest memories of this.
Okay.
And I remember being a little kid in Norfolk, Virginia, during the Cuban Missile Crisis, and our next door neighbors were Navy guys. Well, she's a family, and the father disappeared. He was a helicopter pilot, so he was off on a carrier. But I remember wandering through her house, and there on the end table was a stack of the James Bond novels.
Oh,
and
that's
it piqued my interest. I had no clue who he was. It was the old pans. I remember seeing that. I said, these are intriguing. I was thumbing through them. I'm still learning to read. And then about 2 years later was, or 2-3 years later was, No and Goldfinger double feature with the whole family, and my head exploded. So that's like 65, and then all the toys, and that's where I started from.
And it's amazing. And what I love about what you've done to your channel, and this is an interesting, we talk about evolution and journey, whether we get bad news and we're like, all right, how are we going to do the next 6 months or not? What you've done is you were already living the Bond lifestyle. You had breakfast like Bond. You ate Fleming-like foods. You dressed like what we're seeing right now on a regular basis during a freaking pandemic. And my point was, I think I said to you one day, we were out at an event, and we've been friends forever. And I said to you, you know, have you ever thought about capturing your lifestyle? I'm like a junkie. You ever thought about capturing your lifestyle and sharing it? And you did, and it exploded because I think people were fascinated with this.
I was in the closet all those years.
Okay,
and then
that's fine.
It was only about a year ago or so, last summer. And you mentioned, I do all this stuff, but I don't document anything or either put that effort, because it's all into just living the daily lifestyle. So now it's like a year later and 300 posts and how many followers. So still ready to make that step into the videos, but I try to live it every day. And it's been fun, especially when I started reaching out and others saw it and I saw them. In fact, I think everybody here on the screen, I've practically met everyone. In fact, I was gonna say Martin. I met Martin at Spectre. I didn't know who he was, but I had his book. And it's like, oh wait, I've got it right here with me. And haven't met him, hadn't seen him since the Spectre days in London. But it's funny how this whole community, I think half the people now have actually met face to face.
It is pretty amazing. I mean, it's getting better. I mean, it will get better, I should say. But we've got also, we've got to kind of tickle, and probably wrong use of words, but we've got to tickle the whole idea of not just the physicality or the movies or the books or the nostalgia, but the fact that the brain, the actual Bond brain of figuring everything out is got to be one of the things that we gravitate to. And we've got none other than the Bond brain himself, Bud West. Bud, welcome.
Thanks for the build up there. Yeah, I like
all
that.
Right.
I don't feel that smart every morning when I can't find my car keys, but
But Bud, you wanted to do something, and I know we've talked about this privately, but we've got a couple people watching right now. I mean, you thought to yourself, I love James Bond, but is everybody taking advantage of the cerebral aspect of it? I mean, where did that come from?
I always liked that part of the films. I always liked the mental play, the I've been expecting you, Mr. Bond, the attempt in the books and the films to kind of outwit before it gets to the action sequences. Of course, we all want to see the action sequences, but I always liked that interplay. So it really comes from that. And the fact that I like strategy games and stuff like that. And you see Bond is a guy who plays games. He plays poker and backgammon and baccarat, and so it just kind of all came together. A couple different hobbies for me.
I love it. And one of the things that I think you've pushed people on is to kind of extend themselves a little bit. I mean, Bond as a character pushes themselves, and I think you do that with strategy and other aspects. By the way, I see in your background, this is your lair. This is your Bond cave.
This is it. That's the lair. Yep. The kids gave up the playroom, and now it's my playroom. So I took it over. I totally redid it. And actually, there's quite a few people out there that have been redoing and kind of featuring their Bond rooms. And I find that stuff very interesting. Jeff just did a video not that long ago. He redid his office there. You can see behind him, and that's pretty cool. And I mean, not along the lines of your basement. That's holy cow. But
it's fine. It's fine.
But still, so we got somebody else there, but he's only got one wall done down there toward the bottom.
It's a journey. It's a journey for all of us.
So I like when it doesn't have to be a whole room, but you know, when you have your Bond corner or your kind of Bond area, I think it kind of gets you in the mindset.
And by the way, an area could literally be the seat of your car, the driving seat of your car. I've never seen this man that I'm going to introduce next in
Kyle.
his car because he hasn't been able to drive after I see him. And I'm just
That's
putting
very
it out
true.
there. Kyle, welcome.
What's happening?
What kind of car is
Hey,
it?
Kyle. Sorry, I'm late. Better late than never.
That's okay. You look like you're hiding.
Technically, I guess I'm still on the clock. I just left my last sales call of the day, but I had to. I have to do this. James Bond Day is a holiday for me, so it's part of my religious beliefs.
Wow, you went there. And this is a part of your vocation too, because you work with beer distributors, and you try to get people like us hooked on beer, right? That's
and it's not that difficult with this crowd. I mean, the Bond community is a thirsty bunch.
They're a very thirsty bunch. I mean, the fact that you had to jump into a seat says everything. But hey, I want to do something. We are almost at the 5 o'clock hour over here, but I'd like the panelists specifically. You'll notice that at the bottom of your screen, there's something called reactions where you can raise your hand. I'm going to ask a series of questions, and I'd love to see how everybody feels. If you want to raise your hand, that means you buy into it. So first of all, who here on the panel, April 2nd, will happily go to a theater and see No Time to Die? Show of hands. Got 1, 2, 3. George, you've got to actually vote.
Sorry. Oh, do I? My God, thumb.
So Commando Bond, Culture of Bond. You've got Kyle. Morton disappeared. His hand came and went.
No.
All right, not a lot. But you could see from the Will Fetto. Yep. I see your hand. It's a mechanical hand. It's good. But we've got a lot of people in the chat room who are like, April, no bueno. I'd love to ask, now we're going to get into some general questions, okay? I've talked about each of you. I've talked about the next 6 months. But let's kind of talk about right now. What are we thinking? I mean, let's take out our crystal ball. Calvin, best guess. We're going to watch this 6 months from now. We're going to actually highlight these conversations. Best guess. When are we sitting in a theater, or when are we sitting anywhere and watching No Time to Die?
I think if theaters are open, if they survive this, then it will be in theaters. I don't think there's much of an appetite on the business side of it to go video on demand, because the money just isn't there, as much as people may want that. So unless theaters tank everywhere, then it will be in theaters. I think we will have one more delay. Whether that's into the summer next year or further on, like November time, maybe. I think the next Mission Impossible film's scheduled for November next year, and I can't imagine that that's gonna make that slot. So maybe it'll, move to November then. I don't know, but I can't imagine that the situation in April is going to be much different than it is now. So,
yeah, and let me ask you a further question, since we're pushing the envelope. The whole idea of a 60th anniversary of this movie, which I know where that would put it. Now, poor Wilfredo is having a stroke volumes here. Wilfredo, not a fan of the 60th anniversary?
Hey, I'm all for it. At this point, hey, let's have it.
Well, that would wait a little bit, though. I mean, Joe, are we? How much are we? So let me ask you a question, and this is for everybody. Anybody can answer. What defines our breaking point? Because I've heard, just give it to me on video on demand, give it to me in April or else, give it to me in November when it's safe. What are we thinking here?
They won't do it on video on demand because they filmed in IMAX, and IMAX is a thing that you have to see in the cinema. That's the point taken. And also what Broccoli and Wilson said, they want to show it in a worldwide audience in a cinema. So that's the plan. But I think probably they will delay it 007 times.
Oh,
crazy! Is that crazy?
Wait a minute, 2 more.
It's a joke, small joke, but I think November. November is a bit more. How do we say it? Realistic.
Bondian.
What you say, Jerome?
It's a bit more Bondian.
Yeah, that's true. 007. Yeah. But it will be. I think it will be November, because April. Do we have a vaccine then? The situation in a lot of those countries, like, I have to say it again, like the States or like Brazil or Russia, it's not that good.
It's Michael Plasky's fault, by the way. Just FYI.
I firmly believe we'll see it post-apocalypse, so around November next year.
Yeah,
oh my gosh!
Hey, I
way to lift the spirits.
I have a very short planning range.
Mike, remember, just walk to the light. Just walk to the light.
That's all you gotta do.
Just running.
All right, so I've got a question. Martijn, let me ask you a question. So, events, locations, these are your passions. You've let people jump onto those with you. I mean, is a movie going to stop or start what you're doing?
Ooh.
No.
Good question.
No, it's not. I don't think so. It doesn't make any difference, I think. So the events will always be there. It's just, I just hope they're not going to bring it out in September, October next year, because that will interfere with the Diamonds Are Forever.
That's right. Yeah.
Events. So
that's right.
And I've already had contact with the GoldenEye estate about a possible 2022 thing.
Ooh.
But
sign me up.
So I'm coming too.
Take my money.
Yeah, what is GoldenEye flirting with exactly? Just creating something very special there?
Well, they usually have a Bond celebration on Global James Bond Day, which I didn't know, but I found it on their website, and so I proposed the idea to combine things, And as especially the older fans might know that in somewhere in 1995 or 96, they had this Jamaican Bond Festival.
Yes.
Which I didn't attend, but I heard from people that it was pretty special, and they had Ursula Andress there and several other stars. So they're in for it, I suppose. But the situation now is pretty difficult because GoldenEye is still closed, and the people I spoke to said, "What event? We don't even know if we have a job next week. What are you talking about? An event in 2022?" So it was a bit too early, I suppose.
So we've got to just...
The idea is there.
Yeah.
Caleb wasn't born in 95, so he didn't attend. He just said.
No.
Oh, that's a bit of a problem, but
but I mean, listen, we were all Caleb's age, so now he's got an opportunity to he can go to Las Vegas or he can go to Amsterdam, right?
Yeah.
He's not drinking a Negroni, he's drinking a Shirley Temple.
You know, Caleb, I didn't invite you on for this abuse. I'm just calling it out right now.
It's quite all right.
Guys, if you saw the weaponry that he used on Instagram today, you would shut the heck up.
Sorry.
Not a guy to cross. That's all I'm saying.
This is true.
That is all I'm saying. All right. So, Mathieu Auclair, you know, I know you're in lockdown. I know that you are a secure human being. But obviously, you know, we've got to talk about certain restrictions. And these are global discussions, obviously, what we're having right now, because you guys enjoyed going to certain events and things like that. April, we doing it?
We'll have to wait and see. Right now, based on our current statistics, I don't know. I mean, people, you have people protesting, wearing masks. You have people. I was at the grocery store earlier today, and people were not really social distancing. People were very close to each other, and I'm like I try to avoid the metro around here as much as I can. It doesn't look good for this winter. I'll say that the cases are climbing up. It doesn't look good. People are. I heard horror stories of senior citizens who are sick, who don't care, and get other people sick. It's not very fun. I'm hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst. We'll see. Right now, if the movie was coming out in November, I don't think I would have been able to see. Come April, I don't know. I'm thinking there's gonna be another delay, maybe even two more. I think it's Sony that said that they were not going to distribute any films until it's safe for them to release, and I think they should take that approach. To me, I don't know if their creditors will allow it, but to me, it's the most logical approach to take.
Well, the closest to, I will just say it, an industry expert on this panel is Morten. And I know, Morten, you and I have had legions of discussions around this, but you know, for the cinemas, I mean, we just saw Cineworld and we saw Regal Cinema and things like that. And they're talking about they need, like Mathieu had just said, you know, a surplus of tentpole movies to come back. I mean, what does that do for that type of timing? I mean, do we need 3 movies, 4 movies? What are you hearing?
Well, I think it's quite interesting. I think we all want to see the next Bond movie in the theaters on the big screen, especially on IMAX, since they have shot several of the big action sequences on IMAX, including the opening shot of the movie, which is in Norway, without any spoiler, but it's something that they've done for the first time in the history, and they've done it with an IMAX camera. I'm not going to tell exactly why, but it's going to be quite extraordinary. But and a lot of people say that, you know, the next Bond movie, they can't release it on video on demand because there is no business model. The problem is that the cinemas now, many of the big cinema chains are closing for many months. There is no big studio movies coming out the next months either. June was postponed, I think, to October or November next year. And I think that according to Variety and Hollywood Reporter, 25 to 40% of all the cinemas in the world will be closed forever because of the pandemic. So it's interesting that during this year, a lot of changes will happen, sadly. So it's very difficult to predict how the situation will be in April, but whatever happens, I wouldn't be surprised, because as we know with No Time to Die, the whole timeline has been full of surprises. Danny Boyle was originally the director, then he was suddenly out, and then the movie was delayed. Suddenly Cary Fukunaga was the director, and there was challenges during the production, and then the movie has been postponed many times. Universal became the distributor. So whatever happened next, I have no idea, but I think it could be a surprise. And I think that Universal, they have launched several movies directly on video on demand in some markets, and it's done very well. I think that they launched Trolls World Tour, and they earned a lot of money on that. And the reason is that they get a bigger percentage when they release it on digital, because if you show it in the cinema, you have to share the revenue with the cinemas. And if you look at, for example, Skyfall, it grossed over $1 billion, but that's just the gross. It's not the income. I think there is an article on Deadline.com about how much money they actually earned on Skyfall, and it's not 1 billion. So maybe I'm too technical, and but I think that the whole business model for the whole industry is changing, and who knows what's going to happen in April. It was a long answer. I'm sorry.
No, but it's good. But I mean, here's the thing. I think there's so much speculation right here. We're fortunate to have somebody from the industry on that can kind of help explain this, because it's very easy for us to say, just give it to me like this, or give it to me like that, but there are certain business and obligations and contract discussions that need to happen. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Bless you. Oh, it's Jerome. It's you. So ladies and gentlemen, we have entered the speed round. Let me explain what this is. Oh, yes, there is a speed round. I hope you had libation. So we are going to.
I'm in my car.
Yeah, so thank God Calvin Dyson's taking a swig. By the way, Calvin, have you filled that back up, or is that still the same level?
No. This is my third. I had to go and get another bottle of this Icelandic vodka.
Third?
Wow.
Do you have a wooden leg, my good man?
Oh my God.
What?
It's Monday, I'm
what
still
does that
mourning.
mean? It's Monday.
It's only Monday.
Exactly.
Monday's the day after church day. You're supposed to be. Oh, gosh. All right. So here we go. I am going to randomly choose, but all of you will be chosen, a different panelist. We're going to go in a row, and it's going to go quick. But here's the thing. This is where we get positive. We've spent 2+ hours, and we've been talking about speculation and this and that. And a lot of it has been positive, thank God. Even though Jorrit is crossing his arms, I'm telling you, that man is so positive. You have no idea. Isn't it terrible, Zoom, that you could see each other?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. We're going to go through, and I want each of you, as I call on you, to tell the entire audience, and we've got a good sized audience still, of what are we looking forward to for the next 6 months? It could be anything. It could be what you're going to create. It could be watching another Bond movie. It could be exploring the music of GoldenEye, as Joe put so aptly on his audition tape. It could be anything, but what is the positive thing that you're looking forward to? All right. And guess what? We're going to start with Joe Darlington first. So Joe, what are you looking forward to? I know.
I knew you were going to call on me first.
Of course.
What am I looking forward to the most in the next 6 months? I don't know. I guess just everybody I'm looking at, just keep all the good content coming, frankly. And I got to tell you, I mean, it's been the fun thing about the last few months has been watching everybody really sort of kick it up a notch, from Calvin's been putting out like a lot of really good videos. I've seen trivia nights happen. All kinds of different things. 00 Files. I'm loving that trivia podcast they're doing now. Martin Mulder's putting out great stuff. Ray Krumpold, great room, buddy. I love how the room is coming out, by the way. I'm looking at
Joe. A lot of people are saying, does this give you enough time for volume 2? in the chat room.
Would it? I guess I might as well just confess. I mean, when they postponed the film, I just said, "Oh my god, I got another 6 months to get that."
Oh, come on, man. Nobody needs to sleep to 11 a.m.
I swear to you, going back as far as January, February, I was telling my girlfriend, honey, I know I'm constantly doing videos. I know I'm constantly editing. I said, but I swear to you, after April, it's all going to stop. It's all going to stop. I'm going to get such a nice breather after the film comes out in March. It's going to be great. It's going to be beautiful, honey. We're going to have so much free time.
Lies.
Yeah, good stuff.
I love that. I love that. Calvin, what are we looking forward to?
Much the same, I guess. I can't remember who said it earlier on about the sort of the anticipation is almost better than when you actually get to like open the present. And there is a part of me that kind of enjoys being in this perpetual state of there is constantly a new Bond film to look forward to, and there has been for so long now. And it's like, I mean, this never happens where there's a Bond film like literally in the can. They're not changing it. It is there. It exists on some hard drive somewhere in some film stock somewhere. And it just hasn't been released yet. So that's kind of a really strange situation to be in. And I'm just looking forward to making more videos. And I think that looking forward to a new film constantly on the horizon is, I mean, it does motivate you more. Like, I think like if the film had come out, there would be a lot of buzz about that, obviously, and then the Blu-ray release and the home media stuff and all that kind of stuff. But then there would be quiet, like there often is between Bond films. And I kind of like that, you know, we have this hype to sort of last us throughout lockdown in the various stages that it's in.
So we could take the last 2 weeks of hype and try to ride that wave like a die another day tsunami.
I would love that. That's the perfect analogy. That's excellent.
CGI included. I feel it.
No.
No, we can't do that. All right, no CGI. Sorry. Wolfhead, my friend, you are so positive. You got the page 3 girls standing by. What are you looking forward to?
Well, you know, I've been posting since Spectre, since I went to London to see the Spectre, and I founded the page. So we got 58 years of Bond franchise. So I guess there's more content. We have to keep on doing it. Thank God, David. Thank God that we're living in this time and we didn't live in the 1989, 1995 6-year gap. There was no social media.
Yeah,
that's
true.
And we got this. It is good. So it's going to be great. It's going to be great. Even though I'll want to see the movie right now, hey, it's even more, like Calvin said, it's even more, you know, the tantalizing, the tease. The tease is even more good for us as Bond creators. So let's have it. Let's have more.
I don't know if Calvin used the word titillizing, but I like that. Let's.
Well, I use
that's a T-shirt.
Tantalize.
Tantalized. Yes.
Quite tantalizing.
Quite tantalizing.
I think Wilfredo's pictures that he posts, they're very tantalizing. I love those.
Oh yes, absolutely.
They are. But and listen, everybody's got their brand. You can't argue with them. If it works. And by the way, I mean, I think Morton said it very well before of like, you know, the whole idea of consuming things. And Morton, you know, you've got, I mean, my gosh, I can't even keep track of your travels, but I'm going to call you out for a second. Even with the brands, what you've done is you've said to yourself, I'm going to incorporate my brand lifestyle with my actual work vocation. That doesn't seem to have a lot to do with a movie. It seems like you're just going to keep on. But what are you looking forward to next 6 months?
Well, it's, you know, I'm you know, I totally agree with, you know, what the others said, and I think that, you know, it's, you know, we have to remember we have 24 other official movies to celebrate. We have books, we have unofficial movies. There is a whole history, and like Calvin said, I think it's something about the, you know, all the expectations and the time before the movie, and we can speculate, you know, what's going to happen in a new movie, you know, and you know, that part of me, it's exciting, and we don't really know exactly what's going to happen. So yeah, that's cool.
It is cool. It's exciting. And by the way, the chat room is concerned and delighted. And by the way, Calvin has won the most likely to perish from consumption over the next 6 months, which is fine. Is fine. Everybody's got to go from something. Yes, two fisting bottles is better than two fisting glasses. You are so Bond.
Have you ever heard of Amy Winehands? It's a drinking game where you tape 2 bottles of wine to your hands and you can't remove them until you've drank them both.
Is it really a thing?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I'm way beyond my student days now. But...
Is that a Brit thing, Calvin?
Oh, it's such a Brit thing.
Yeah, I had never heard of it, so that's why.
Yeah,
I'm not saying Boris started it, but it sounds intriguing.
He told
Harris Thomas, looking good, living good, feeling good. But what is the next 6 months? Tell me. You got to be looking up.
Yeah, I am. I mean, I think that, you take the last week or so, right, of all the marketing that's been done and all the excitement that was building up. It almost erased everything that's happened this year. No one was complaining about the movie being delayed. Everyone was pumped up. And I think that come April, if we see the movie in April, this will happen again. And if it gets pushed back again until next year, late November, then we will. But I think, we are living right now in a very exciting time, even though it's a little tough right now. I think down the road, we're going to look back at this time and, look at what we have. We have social media. We have these events. I think we have something special with No Time to Die. And I think that regardless of how the movie actually is, I think it will be more special based on everything that everyone watching on this has gone through. And I think that that's what I'm most looking forward to, is the next 6 months of seeing what that trajectory is going to look like. Just keep living the life and, trying to dress like Bond every day. No pun intended, but
you live it organically, man. I doff my hat to you. You do it in a very authentic way. So thank you. Seriously.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Matt Spazer, again, a very authentic liver. What? And some Chianti beans. I don't know where that came from. By the way, Matt, was your beautiful wife just calling you? Do you need to go?
No, it was the cat.
The cat called you? You actually had a cat call?
Cat?
Oh my God, look at Jordan's cat. That thing is
Oh wow, that is quite a cat.
Yeah, she's big. Yeah.
George, that cat is a commitment. I don't know if you
She
heard.
is. Yeah, she is. Yeah, she is. She has a strange name. She's called Tim. Yeah. Tim, but I think the Dutch people will know what it means. It means that the cat was told me that it was a boy, but it's a girl. So it's a crazy thing. Yeah.
Oh, we say in the United States, Pat.
Yeah, cat.
Yeah,
Pat.
when
yeah.
we're not sure. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's fine. Come see, come see.
She's still awake now.
Matt Spazer,
Yeah.
you've actually, I want to call out something. You actually started a whole new channel because you were like, I didn't know, you didn't know that this was going to be delayed, but you were like, you know what? I've got other interests. I'm going to expand myself. Next 6 months, I mean, you can really approach that in a really interesting way.
Yeah, I've just been, I mean, every day I just have more ideas that I write down, things about clothing that don't relate to Bond. I mean, I can probably relate anything about clothes to James Bond, but I think there's a whole world of clothes that really doesn't have to do with James Bond. So that's something that I think about with, my new Suited Details account. But I'm also always thinking about James Bond clothes and thinking about how I can just, what am I going to wear 6 months from now for No Time to Die, and that's just something that I can look forward to.
Yeah, I mean, we could actually
T-shirt.
No T-shirt. You got to give the guy hives.
It's going to be right there, Harris.
Exactly. And Bud,
Bring him
by
some
the way,
French fries and a T-shirt.
Yeah, Harris, you keep eating French fries for every meal for the next 6 months. We won't see you after 4. I'm just going to put it out there.
That's what I do for 27 years.
I know, but it's gonna come to a wall, don't you think?
Look what happened to me.
If I do, I'm going to need it. No.
Yeah, Culture
Oh,
of
no.
Bond, Mike Poplawski is 23 years old, and look at him. That's from eating French fries.
The liver is the enemy. Kill
Son
the
of a
liver.
bitch.
He
Son of
looks
a bitch.
awesome.
Bud West, the Bond brain. Unless our brains stop thinking, I gotta imagine you got stuff for us for the next 6 months. What are you jazzed about?
I got all kinds of stuff. I got videos to finish editing. I got some stuff, some podcasts, new podcasts coming out tomorrow with Donnie and I. I think we spent more time laughing than talking, but I got another one coming out tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to a brand new Bond themed bar that's opening up in Ray's backyard.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, is
No way.
everybody
Hey, not a cat.
is everybody on this YouTube invited to that?
Absolutely. We're going to have a mug club and everything.
That's it. There you go. Right.
Matt, there's something wrong with your image. There was something on your image.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Right.
They
Bud,
say hi,
stop
she
sleeping
says
in my
hi.
shed.
Hi, other cat.
You're
Another cat.
James Bond, Netherlands. You
Yeah.
guys, I don't know. I mean, seriously, he gets in touch with me and he sends me these emails. I want to describe our relationship. He sends me these emails and he knows I get up early. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, David, I just did this." And I'm like, "You did what?" I mean, that's usually my reaction. You guys, I don't know. You have this like finger on the pulse of things. Are you going to keep this up for 6 months?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we hope so. Yeah, because it's always about the different partners. Then, if they want to participate, and you have to know that those productions, like the Defender and the Triumph video, it takes a lot of time. It's not that you just take a camera and you film. You know, we had a crew of I think it was 6 people. During 2 days to film the video with the Defender with the Triumph, and that was also the case with the Aston Martin DB11 that we did a few years ago. It's planning, especially those DB11 video was months in planning. You have to get in contact with Aston, of course, and then they have to lend you the car for 3 days, and that's the thing. So yeah, that was a nice thing, and I hope that we can do that again. Maybe blasting on the autobahn with what was it, 316 kilometers an hour? It's quite
Jesus
fast.
Christ.
Yeah, very fast. Yeah, we can do that in Germany. Yeah, it's the only country.
George, you need to get the Vantage Volante. You need to get that car.
I'd love to ride your car. Yeah, it looks cool.
Come over, man.
Yeah,
you know we
of
have
course
a guest
I
room.
will. Yeah, I'd love to.
We've got a Nordic room. It's ready for you, man.
Thank you. Now, but what I love to do the most, and also the next 6 months, is just managing our beautiful team that we have. It's not just me that is James Bond Netherlands. We have Johan Antent.
Johan's the man.
Yeah, Johan. I hope you're well. I hope you're still listening. We have Allard Geerlings. We have Joey Versepet. We have Merlijn Kuiper. We have Gosse Drent. We have.
Are you
Heiko
making these
Volkers.
names up because they don't
No, I
sound
don't.
like real language?
No,
Oh, okay.
it's Dutch.
I know Gosse.
Yeah, you know Gosse. Nice. Yeah. Now, but it's the things. Gosse, yeah.
Joe, you're a baller. We see your drink. We love you.
Like a hairball, right?
Now that's the thing that
Calvin
we love to
pressured
do.
me into getting a third one.
But yeah, that's the thing, and the craziest thing is, maybe it sounds crazy, but I love it when we get the hype again. I
know.
I blew up. I love it. The ad hoc things. It's hard because of my thing, you know. Yeah, that's the thing that I love, that you wake up and then you get it's a new trailer. Oh, there is a DHL thing, and then you have to arrange it all. You have to manage it all to get our people riding, and then of course you get all those new things. That's the thing I love, and also meeting you all. Yeah, it's been too long.
It has been too long.
Yeah,
And we're
and
so easy.
I still have a tip for Danielle. I know that Danielle also have the same condition as I have.
Yeah,
I've been drinking Mongozo beer.
Is it
sounds crazy.
gluten-free?
It's gluten-free, and it's won the World Beer Award several years. So I think it's as we say it, an aanrader, a thing that maybe
We will never find it over here, but thank you for that. But I got to tell you something.
I might know a guy.
You're right. We are an easy mark in the sense of I hear what you're saying. When they start the marketing engine again, and of course they will, and they don't even have to do much. You know, today they launched James Bond. So Global James Bond Day is over, folks, except for what we're doing right now.
Not yet.
But what did they launch? They launched a 60-second commercial, essentially, with one new scene where
2 seconds.
Felix and Bond run into each other. We were like, we were like so giddy. And even people were like, Springhouse was like freezing the frames. So it's not going to take much for us, but it's the rest of the world that we're worried about.
That's true, David. Yeah. But we have a thing to do. I've been doing it for 14 years now. JamesBond.nl exists 14 years. But we are, it's my hobby. It's a thing that I love to do.
Yeah.
But we also keep James Bond alive during those periods. Like now, 6 months. I think it will start at the end of January again. We get maybe some new trailers, some new character posters, maybe with
trailer.
Trailer.
You ready for this? Here's the new tagline for the Bond community. The Bond community, life support for James Bond.
Yeah, we are. That's
Yes,
right. You're right. Yeah,
Right.
and
Little bit.
and I hope that they change the character posters now, because they just changed the background.
You don't like the
did
shock
they?
ones?
They just changed the background, did they?
They did. They did. But they
I'm
did.
curious.
But they did.
I'm curious to know what color we're going to get because in the original
Blue.
marketing it was all blue.
No.
All of this was gold.
Can
What's
I tell
next?
you something? We are going to get a what I call a Cordovan or a wine color next.
No, it's a beer color.
Like a Cabernet, like a deep red.
Ooh,
I like
Mark my words.
But there's going to be a lot of blood then, or?
No. That's very
No.
vintage. That's very 1970s,
that's
80s.
what you mean.
Jocelyn knows because her dress is of that color.
Yeah, lovely dress.
And by the way,
lovely dress.
Jocelyn, all right, we please keep us sane, because these guys, we don't know. We're just speculating here. You need to help us here. Jocelyn, you've got, I will say this, you've created quite an impact in a short amount of time. I think a lot of it comes from your passion, but you've also shown that you've got excitement no matter what the bridge to the next film is. What is that excitement?
I have to say the Bond community. I mean, everything that everyone's creating.
It's Wilfredo, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I remember one of Joe's interviews and how he says, like, he turns on the TV and he just watches YouTubes and listens to podcasts and I feel like I've fallen into that habit now. I'm like, when I prepare dinner, I'm like listening to somebody on the podcast, or watching someone's video, and
Wow.
it's been fantastic. I hope that I've been able to contribute. I'm a little bit slow paced since I just do this in my own free time, and I want to share with everyone all this stuff that ladies are interested in. Actually, today for Global James Bond Day, I released a video interview with another female Bond fan, and we talked about her account and
Who is
her
it?
experiences. It's Melanie from
What?
Bird.
Oh, it's the she does
So,
the
like,
bird
with-
stuff.
yeah,
Oh, she's amazing.
You would
She's
know her.
hysterical.
Yeah. She's a huge Bond fan, and she's got a Parrot D Bond account, and it's pretty funny. And so we just talk a little bit about her account and then her background in Bond, and having that experience with her was amazing, because I don't get to talk to other women. Like, they're kind of rare, and if I do, it's kind of like, I've missed you, in passing, and I didn't have that chance. So I'm now trying to work. I'm working on a project now where I hope to bring over the next few months more recognition of women in the community, just so people could have a different perspective of the Bond community.
So can I tell you something? Jerome, a Dutch Bond fan, be my wingman on this conversation. I am fascinated, and also I love that more and more women. So my channel, for example, started out, kid you not, it was like 6% women, everybody else men. And then it's gravitated and it's grown and it's expanded. And I always am fascinated, like, out of all the genres, this, what people would deem as misogynistic, rather, a gentleman who may treat people like expendable playthings and treat playthings like expendable playthings, has gravitated with women. Why is that, Jocelyn? What's the big pull here?
I think some of it is kind of an exploration. But something that Melanie had pointed out is that there are different types of women, and there are different things in the Bond franchise that appeals to them. So there are some women out there who enjoy being that damsel in distress. So maybe they can relate to the Bond women who are like that. At the same time, there are women who they like feeling strong and confident. So like, for instance, I feel like that a lot of times. So I'm actually really excited for Nomi's character, just having another 00 agent. So I think even though he's misogynistic, I at the same time, I think Bond is a flawed person, and being able to explore that world altogether is really interesting.
I love it. And by the way, I first of all, perfect answer. Second of all, I think that it's one of these things that we need to explore more. And I think the next 6 months allows us to do that. So, you leading the charge with other people, I think it's a great way to explore. A Dutch Bond fan, the reason I called him out on that is that's how he met his girlfriend. I'm just wondering, my friend, Jerome, have you confided in your girlfriend your incredible passion for Bond?
I haven't met her through Bond. She's a stewardess. I just met her a completely different way. But no, she's not the biggest Bond fan at all. She's a fan of me though, but not. I hope she's watching.
Fleming's Bond used to say he would probably marry a stewardess.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess I did right then.
Well played.
Does she know to what level and extent your passion goes?
Yeah, she does. Yeah, she actually wanted to come to London with me.
Oh.
But no, she isn't. She doesn't know that much about Bond, but she does think Daniel Craig is good looking. So I guess there's something. She wants Tom Hardy for Bond too, just like me. So I guess that's another.
Whoa.
thing.
Okay, hold on a second. You want Tom Hardy for Bond?
If he works with Christopher Nolan, I could, it's I almost feel like it's controversial seeing all your faces.
You think?
But yeah, I think with Nolan it could work. Yeah, that's what I think.
I think Nolan and Hardy do go together. They work together very well. And I will say it right now. I would love to see a Nolan trilogy Bond.
Ooh.
A Bond trilogy.
Yeah, that's exactly what I posted a video about the other day.
But I don't know if, and I know we're starting like a whole separate conversation, but why not?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's Hardy. Or as opposed to somebody else that Nolan discovers, maybe.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I just see it totally work for the next direction. And like you said, they should just do like a Dark Knight trilogy and just maybe even make it a period piece. They've never done that before. Just make it clear from the start, this is going to be a period piece trilogy. This one time, just Bond 26, 27, and 28. We'll have Tom Hardy, have Michael Caine as M, just go Hans Zimmer, just go all the way. And I guarantee you, even if Christopher Nolan just calls the movie 007 or
and the bad guy could be the
people
Scarecrow.
will see it. We all have those friends that go like they facepalm like, what is the big deal with Bond? We all have those friends that just don't get it. Even those friends will see that stuff if Nolan directs it. I'll guarantee it. It's gonna sell like crazy. That's what I think. Yeah.
One word for you, Tenet. It is a pandemic. That's unfair.
Yeah, Tenet was confusing.
Hey.
Well, and also, if Nolan is going to direct a trilogy Bond film, I just ask that he turns down the music a little bit, just so I can hear the dialogue just a little bit.
Yeah, no, that is some. Yeah, you're right about that one.
But which of you guys did see Tenet?
I saw it.
Yeah, I saw it as well. But the American guys, the Canadians, did you ever had the chance to see it?
Saw it on Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix.
I saw it.
Netflix?
It's a joke.
Did any of you guys
Did
any of you guys follow the plot or?
No.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, but I
so confused.
I took me. It was at the end, 45 minutes left. Then I got it.
Oh yeah.
On your first
time,
time,
that's when I kind of blocked off.
But can you imagine a film by Christopher Nolan with such, but a James Bond film then by Nolan?
Oh, it'd be amazing.
Be amazing with the plot of Tenet, and then you have
Not
to
with the plot of
really
Tenet.
think. No, you have to really think about the film like it's a spy adventure, you know, like
Yeah.
a typical Scandinavian detective series, you know, like Borgen
Yes.
or like those series. That would be awesome. You really,
I think he would. I think he would nail it.
He would nail it. And by the way, if they put it as a period piece, it would be amazing because you could have Bond almost like Mad Men, you know, the TV show Mad Men as James Bond.
Yeah.
But he would do it
and
right.
It could be exciting too. It could be a really good way to get some of the you know, the political incorrectness that it's you know, slammed for so much these days. You can kind of get it back, you know, as an excuse. Like people could be smoking again. I'm not a smoker myself, but it's, you know, it's stuff like that.
You need to
that
start. You got 6
offensive.
months, man.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
No, that's just
it's bad.
Awful.
But you know, you know what I mean. I think it could really work that way, and I can see, you know, Hardy wouldn't just be Tom Hardy as Bond if he does it. He would totally transform, change his look. He would be somehow, you know,
but has Bond
really different.
Has Bond to be a famous Hollywood star? I don't buy
Yeah, no,
that.
I don't see it happening, and you know, I'm
It's
not.
never happened.
No, I don't see it happening. But I've been saying this before the big rumors, but I just feel like it would sell, and he would nail it. That's just what I
He would.
feel like.
He would. Yeah. Yeah.
So do you guys, I mean, the ones that are holding this conversation, do you think Henry Cavill has no chance because he is kind of a big Hollywood star?
He's
Probably bigger than Tom Hardy, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's too famous. You know.
Okay.
There was always a thing that I thought when they choose for Craig, you know, he was a bit of a star in Great Britain. He did a couple of movies like I don't think. Do you remember the film Mother that he did?
Yeah.
Very difficult film.
Yeah.
When he falls in love with an older woman, but he wasn't that famous, and that is what the Bond producers, who it might well be for 26, need.
Yeah.
They need a person that they can, we say, you know, like mold him a bit like the character, you know, like the moment that when Terrence Young took Sean Connery to Anthony Sinclair to fit him like Bond, you know, like with the suits, and to talk him to act like the Bond that he had in his mind, and Ian Fleming his input as well. So that is what they want. But yeah, they and of course when they get a new one, he doesn't need to be like his predecessors. This is what Craig said. He said, I cannot do a Brosnan or a Dalton or a Moore, you know.
But
That's the
it
nicest
is
thing.
going to be dependent, and I'm going to raise a whole new flag here. It's going to be dependent on who owns the brand. So there's a lot of speculation in here of who owns the brand. So let's say Apple comes along.
No.
And let's say no, but
Yeah,
let's
go ahead.
Play
Go
the
ahead.
game.
Go
Play
ahead,
the game.
mate.
So Apple comes along and they buy, and they take out MGM and they bring it along, and they say, well, we're online and we're commercial. We're much more commercial. So they may be looking for a commercial individual. They may be looking for that name brand. The Broccolis haven't done it, of course, but it may change the game entirely.
It could be. Yeah, it could be.
You never know.
Mathieu.
Go ahead.
Listen, we got to get back to this. You got to rescue us. Like, I know you're a Batman fan. You know, the dawn is darkness. The darkest just before the dawn, whatever. 6 months. I know you're looking for nothing but positive here. Give us some of that.
You know what? I've been sort of toying with this thing here, the James Bond role-playing game. We did the test run last weekend, and it was somewhat successful. People enjoyed it. I didn't use all the rules because I wanted the game flow to be more fluid and not get stuck in rolling dice to find out, oh, I hit them in the knee, or but it's something I might try. I don't know if you saw, I sent packages to all the players with their character file, little bio a fake plane ticket. I might be. It's something I might. I don't know if I do a podcast or a YouTube thing, but it's something Edgar and I are slowly. Sorry.
Somebody's yawning here.
Oh.
But how late is it at your place? You want to know how late it is here?
We have
almost midnight in Holland.
Almost midnight, mates. 20 minutes.
That's true. That wasn't for you. That wasn't for you.
All right, sorry, I'm nothing.
4 cocktails later, it feels like midnight.
Cheers, Joe. Go ahead.
So yeah, resurrecting the James Bond RPG because they don't have video games. We don't have any way of doing the Star Wars thing when they have the game where you can shoot each other. We don't have that. So I mean, I'm thinking of maybe starting sessions of the James Bond RPG and sending profiles to people.
I don't mean to get my geek on with you, but that would be cool. Like do a giant Zoom session of like a James Bond, like Dungeons and Dragons type thing where you're different characters.
Wow.
It wouldn't be horrible.
Yeah, we kind of did a sequel to Dr. No last weekend, and people really got into it. People improvised, and I didn't know what they were going to do, and there was a lot of alcohol. It was kind of fun, and I enjoy sort of creating maps and characters and situation. It was interesting. So that's something I love, and I just want to say I used to be a big Nolan fan, but his last 2 films almost made me sick in a way, like the sound and everything. I must say I left Tenet maybe 30 minutes before the end because I was about to throw up. Yeah, I did not. I think it's the cutting with the sound. It's just it made me like nauseous at one point in the IMAX screen. So I'm not. I used to be a big fan of him, but that's just that those last 2 films I was not very keen on him. So
yeah,
he doesn't have my vote for Bond.
All right.
Matt, when you made the sequel to Dr. No, who got to play the giant squid?
I did. I control. Yeah, there was a giant squid. I had to put it in.
Wow.
Like honestly.
Kyle bringing out the details. By the way, Kyle, now that you've warmed up your vocal cords, by the way, is anybody come to your window and knocked on it and said, "Sir, you can't park here"?
Not yet. So far, they've left me alone. We'll see how long that lasts.
I'm a little worried about you because I know there's a case of beer next to you. Listen, next 6 months, I mean, you were over my place. We had a great day. We filmed a bunch of stuff. We got into trouble, had a lot of fun. But 6 months it's half a year. I mean, but you seem positive. So why?
Well, what I'm looking forward to over the next 6 months is seeing how much longer Joe Darlington can grow his beard.
Oh yeah, no, he could go full Merlin, I think.
Yeah.
Listen, by the way, I gotta tell you that if we were doing the like the high school yearbook superlatives, I gotta hand it. I mean, Caleb, best dressed, Ray, best room that was built in the last month, and Kyle, best car out of anybody here.
Yeah, what kind of brand is it?
It is a Subaru Forester, a very Bundian car.
Nice
Oh no.
car, yeah.
But Kyle, you're not 68 years old. Why are you driving that? Oops.
Practical.
Sorry.
I have a question for Joe. Joe, does the beard have its own Instagram account yet?
Has its own zip code.
Really?
Not yet. But I tell you, it should.
Definitely.
It has certainly become my Samson, and I think my superpowers are right here, especially in the little
great
white streaks here.
The reason why Jeff Weibo's not on anymore is because Sadie got lost in there one day. So I mean, that beard is it's worse than the Black Forest. I mean, it's nefarious.
The beard is actually brilliant, Joe, because you seem to get more comments now on the beard than the Where's Volume 2.
I swear, right?
Yeah, that's just deflection right there. That's genius.
Been delayed more
I'm
than
no
Time to
dummy.
Die.
It is a deflection.
Nice one,
Hey,
bro.
Bremer, you got to save us from this craziness. I mean, Tom Hardy stuff. I mean, we knew this was going to be chaos towards the end, but you must have, and I'm going to call this out, you must have packages from brands who are kind of panicking and scrambling because they're like, oh my gosh, we need to have a megaphone to what we are and what we have. Do you think that's going to continue for 6 months, or is that going to dry up?
I think it's going to dry up for a little bit, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be probably some emptiness, and like I said, they're probably maybe get some offers from Eon to get some new, things out there, or but I don't see any much new stuff coming out. But I think we can still focus on a lot of things from the old movies. There's still a lot we didn't put on for the current movie that it was not yet identified or just identified. So there's still definitely some stuff to do for the coming 6 months, and I'm not too worried. It's a long-term game, for everyone. Like we said, like we're in it for already the whole life basically. It's not going to stop, hopefully, also anytime soon. So the delay, I don't see it as a big dramatic thing. Like a cancellation would be a dramatic thing, but the delay would just be in the big picture, it doesn't matter. And the positive thing will be probably the movie probably won't be any worse than Spectre. It can't be any worse than Spectre, so that's a positive thing, I think. And for the rest, I'm just excited to see what they do. But yeah, it might be another year. I agree that it's not set that it's going to be April. So those 6 months are just actually a hypothetical right now. I mean, it could be much longer.
All right.
That is the most optimistic prediction I've heard. It can't be worse than Spectre, so we're fine.
Am I the only Spectre fan in the whole Bond community?
Yes.
Am I the only one who likes it?
I like it.
You're not the only one.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, I love
No,
it.
there's a few.
I
But,
like it.
all right, so let's do a little activity, Remmert. You sparked something. So panelists, by show of hands, and people in the chat room, by show of hands, who thinks No Time to Die will absolutely be better than Spectre without a doubt? You could do your electronic hands or you can raise your real hands, either one. Okay, so the majority, by far the majority. Yeah. All right, good. Interesting. And Remmert, I think you've gravitated to something I think we all could take as a lesson, is that, we've got 24 movies and a lot of books that we can go back to, and we will go back to. You're rediscovering new items, new findings, for example, for your webpage from some of the Roger Moore, things. And you went over the Hamilton watch, the homage and stuff like that. It's a way to revisit things. Oh, you have it on. How's that for time?
That was on. No, exactly. There's so much still to discover. I mean, I guess everybody that creates content has just a huge to-do list of ideas that you still want to, expand on. And I definitely have a huge list of old items from old movies that I didn't even add yet, or that are recently discovered. So yeah, I mean, there's so much to do still. I guess we're gonna, get a little bit more time for that because of the break with No Time to Die. Another thing I hope to do, I wanted to say, is that I hope they're going to have some better poster designers coming up soon, because the posters so far have been pretty basic. I mean, the logo on one photo of, not even a great photo, I think, every time, of like a blurry watch and a blurry Bond. So I really like the fan art that has been coming out, because I mean, in one way, why not make something more special than just the image? It's sort of simple. It's a simple image with just Bond and the tuxedo, and it's good. It works, but it's not original. It's not really.
So I know this is not going to be popular with everybody, but I'll say something a little avant-garde. If Eon decided to create a spark for the next 6 months, they could literally every single week release a new fan poster to everyone. And just literally, I know they have hundreds upon hundreds, if not 1,000 entries. Just release them once a week, highlight the artist, talk about the fan, gravitate back to the fan. We would eat that stuff up.
Yeah, they didn't do much with that contest, I think, either, because there was this big contest, but they didn't use that much.
They didn't do anything with it.
No, I didn't even see it.
That. I know, the crazy.
Was there even a winner?
Yeah, there was.
Joe Darlington, I think, won.
His beard did win. Yeah,
he did submit his beard. All right, so here we go. The last person who I know, again, he's showed himself as not stopping the role, and 2021 is going to be an exciting year. Maybe even 2022 is Martin Mulder. Whoa. And you've got so much passion. I can't believe that the next 6 months you're not already seeing kind of your next steps.
Well, I think I'm going to focus on the first half of those 6 months, because what I forgot to tell you earlier on is that this year, 2020, marks our 25th anniversary. So on the tracks of 007's 25th anniversary, and so that I should bring out lots more stuff in the coming 3 months. And then when that's done, I need a couple of months to relax, I suppose.
Sabbatical.
And listening to Remmert earlier, how Remmert finds all these great stuff from the older films, that suddenly got me thinking. You can also turn that around. For instance, I got these crazy sunglasses. I already have the item. Now I have to look through all the films to see if somebody is wearing this particular sunglasses. You could do that with a lot of stuff. I mean, glasses, stuff that you already have, and you can watch the films over and over and see if you can find that particular item. I think that will keep me busy for the next 6 months.
Now, 20 years, I think.
Yeah, probably.
Easily. Martijn, thank you. So here's the thing. We are getting very close to the 3-hour mark, but this is what happens. We get into a room and, we just start to connect with each other. But I want to say something to everybody, because I think this is what's going to be the next 6 months, the next 6 years. And that is these connection moments. It is really finding individuals and finding people that we can connect with. We have Bond as our base, right? We have it as our foundation, but we find so much more beyond Bond. And that's what makes it special. I want to thank everybody today. I want to thank Calvin, Joe, Tom, Jorrit, Martijn, Remmert, Morten, Caleb, Matt, Matura, Peter, Ray, Harris, Warren, Jerome, Don, Jeff, John Williams, Jocelyn, Kyle, Donnie, Bond, and Mike, and Wilfredo, and everybody else who joined the chat room. By the way, I apologize, and yet I applaud. Why? Because usually I take questions, but it was moving so quickly. We had over 7,000 people jump in and out. And when that happens, it just starts to roll so quickly. So I want to thank you for holding your own party and watching us as background. And that's fine, because there's no right way to appreciate Bond, and there's no wrong way. All right. So I want to wish everybody a very happy Global James Bond Day, and we will see you all real soon. Cheers, everybody, for joining us.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys. And, applaud for David.
Yes.
No.
David's been keeping the flame of Bond burning.
Thank you.
I guess only Dutch people do that, Jorrit.
All right. So